Welcome back, foolish mortals, to more of the Haunted Podcast.
Woo!
And, yep, just kidding. Yes, it is Eric again, and we're having another kind of like Halloween edition, kind of part 2 of the pod session right now. So, and I'm joined today by, across the table, got Ashley with me.
Ooh, hello.
Yep. And over to my left, I got James back in the studio.
Hello.
All right. So we can dive more into spooky stuff. So we kind of want to make it, kind of all-encompassing, a little bit more about, spooky video games, movies, just any kind of like nostalgic things related to like horror.
Sounds like a good time.
Oh, I'm excited.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, good to finally be back at it. It's been like about a month hiatus.
I know, we haven't recorded anything for a long time.
I've been busy with audiobooks.
I've been sad.
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to listen to it.
Right? That's when James is just the one who's just like, hey, dude, when's the next one coming? I'm like, I've been busy. So we'll get it out there. And now we're back.
Yes.
You know, it's too bad. Well, did you record one with Jeremy about spooky stuff?
Oh, yeah. Well, we talked more about like dreams and stuff like that as well.
Oh, yeah. The dreams.
So
Well,
we can dive a little bit into that, too.
I was thinking about when
because you guys weren't here for that one. It was just Sean and Jeremy, right?
Mm-hmm. But I was thinking of when we did me, him, and Jeremy did one about scary video games.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And we were talking about it, and then didn't Jeremy text you at like 3 a.m? Luigi's Mansion.
You completely forgot about Luigi's Mansion. And we were talking about it too. It's like you're gonna remember it at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and just like it'll come back to you. And sure as shit, So
yeah, I didn't play a lot of scary games, but the only scary game I played really was Resident Evil. Well, it was a demo, Resident Evil 3 demo. I think I got from like Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
And
remember those old promotions?
Oh,
those
yeah.
Sweet.
The promotions were great, and it scared the crap out of me. Mind you, I was 8 years old, and the intro, the graphics, like we were talking about earlier, the graphics are like, for the cutscenes are great. The graphics are meh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Nemesis was so scary because he had like the little veiny thing out of his hand that
Like
he would
pulsating or something?
Well, he would pick you up and then stab you through the face with it, and it would like wiggle through your head and like wiggle back.
Ugh.
And all he said was STARS, which was the police force in Resident Evil.
Oh, yeah.
Because he killed all of them. But that game, I remember that scared me and the jump scares, and then the game demo was stopped, and I went, oh.
Wild.
Yeah, it was a crazy game.
Well, the one we were talking about before we recorded, that one that I can't believe I have not found anybody else who's played this, that Parasite Eve game.
Yeah.
I need to find somebody else who's played that because I need to talk about it.
How about your friend Heather? Has she played those type of games?
My friend Heather?
Yeah.
My cousin Heather.
Mm-hmm.
She...
That's because you guys grew up together and you played those type of games. Like, didn't you scream in the middle of the night one night and woke your parents up?
That was when we were playing Silent Hill.
Yeah.
And I talked about this on another episode, but we were playing Silent Hill. I think it was Silent Hill 2. And we were playing in the middle of the night because, why not? And this part came on and we both screamed, and it was like 2 o'clock in the morning, and my parents ran in because we woke them up. And then my dad's like, go to bed.
Yep.
That's one game I never got into. I wanted to with Silent Hill.
Oh.
I might go back and just play them.
I'm so excited. Silent Hill 2.
Getting a remake?
The remaster, the remake is out. It's out now.
For PlayStation 5?
But we don't have a PS5.
Yep. So we'll get one in the near future here.
Anybody out there with a PS5? I want to borrow it, please.
Maybe Zimbabwe, the guy, might send you a PS5.
Yeah, maybe.
Our listeners are from Zimbabwe.
Listeners from across the world.
Do you have a PS5? Can I borrow it, please?
Yeah. Well, remember, like, back in the video rental stores, because now they're kind of a thing of the past, you used to be able to rent video game consoles.
Oh, yeah.
So,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, Family Video actually had, like, actual Xboxes and 360s and PlayStations to rent. It was
They
awesome.
trusted us with that.
Right? I'm shocked. It's like, you'd think, like, random cables would go missing, and it's like...
Oh?
That is kind of crazy to think that they would rent out
Yeah,
video game systems
right?
back then.
I mean, they cost, like, $30 to $50, I thought. Like, just
Oh,
rent
for
for
the
one
rental?
night. Yeah.
Wow.
It was pricey, but, like, it was perfect for, like, Halo LAN parties. It was awesome.
Oh, yeah. If you need it for that, yeah, just one night, $50. Mm-hmm. An extra Xbox.
We touched on that a little bit, too, where Halo 1 almost felt a little bit like a horror game with the flood.
The flood, yeah, that was a
flood.
spooky part.
Mm-hmm.
The flood.
Yeah, Halo had its moments of, like, kind of sinisterness there.
One that we were mentioning in Metal Gear Solid, Psycho Mantis, he was the creepy one because he just like floated in the air. He's like really skinny. He had like a gas mask, but you didn't really know who he was. And when you would face him as the boss, he would disappear and the screen would go black and just have a buzzing sound or like a beep, like a long drawn out beep sound.
Yeah.
And then you come back and he'd be completely different or somewhere else, and then you're like, what do I do? And you go on, and then he'll come back and just do it again. And to get past that, because he was reading your mind, you had to take the controller out of slot 1 and put it in slot 2, even though it's a 1-player game.
Oh, goofy.
And then he couldn't read your mind, and you could beat him.
Whoa. I do remember they had that type of gimmick in like games back in the past too, where you had to like take it out of controller 1 and put it in controller 2.
I never played any games like that.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
I remember like Final Fantasy's had a thing too, where like they have multiple discs, and when you got done beating a certain part, you had to it actually brought up a prompt on the TV, said like insert disc 2, disc whatever.
Well, like I said, my first Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy 9. It had 4 discs.
Oh my god!
I think
that had to be PlayStation 1.
Yeah, well, I think 7, 8, and 9 had 4 discs.
That's nuts.
Because I think Metal Gear Solid had 2.
Sounds right.
Had 2 discs. Because it was like a really thick case. It was just all white, the white cover and red lettering. But yeah, Psycho Mantis was the scary one.
You better not get any scratches on that original PlayStation disc, because boy, one scratch and your game was toast. Man.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm. That was obnoxious. And then PlayStation 2 fixed that, didn't they?
Yeah, you could have some.
Because it was basically like
discs.
DVD. Yeah, you could scratch that thing to crap and it'd still be working.
Well, kind of reminds me. Speaking of Silent Hill, earlier, we were at the exchange, and Silent Hill 3, the original like PS2 like $185.
Yeah, it's crazy prices now.
Really?
Uh-huh.
And I
For
let
the original one.
And I let a friend in high school borrow that game.
Never got it back.
And the fucker never gave it back.
Yep.
Josh Miller, if you hear this, I want that game back. He never gave it back.
Yeah. It's crazy how much games are now, like the OG games. Like you told me, like Dino Crisis is like $60, and I go, I have that game at my parents' house.
The original Pokemon games, don't even get me started.
Dino Crisis is a spooky game or a scary game.
It was a very scary game. It was all jump scares. Like you're walking through, and all
That's
of a sudden,
me,
like
just
a
all quiet. Raptor jumps through the freaking glass, and I'm like, ah!
I almost threw my controller at the TV, the big RCA TVs.
Oh god.
Yeah, that one, and there was a T-Rex that came through, and then when you go past the same spot, it was all empty. And there's a giant hole there. It's like, is he gonna pop out? I don't know yet. I never got past the game. I never beat it.
I remember renting Dino Crisis 2, I think.
Did they have a second one?
I think so.
Yeah, I think they might have.
I'm pretty sure that. Hold on.
Like I said, I never had a PlayStation, so I wouldn't know.
To Google. I'm pretty sure they do.
But yeah, those stinking jump scares with the Raptor.
Oh god.
Oh, yeah.
Just like that.
Speaking of jump scare, oh my god.
It's spooky season. That's what we do.
That legit actually scared me. I wasn't expecting it. Dino Crisis 2.
Yeah,
When
I guess they
did
did
it
have
come
one.
out?
Unbelievable. It happened late 90s.
But yes, I rented this. This came out in 2000.
Wow.
So
In
2000.
Yeah.
That's what.
That'd been the very end of the life cycle of the
Yeah.
original PlayStation.
Actually, no, I had this. I had Dino Crisis 2.
Really?
Because PlayStation 2 came out in 2000, right?
It would take 2001, I believe.
2001.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember Sega Dreamcast came out in 99, and they basically had like a year to kind of like, try and get ahead in the market. And then Sony came out and basically said, yeah, we have a DVD player in our new console. And it basically just like upset the entire gaming industry because it was like, wow, you can buy a game console with a DVD player.
Yeah, the DVD. Yeah,
and it just killed Sega.
Yeah. So my Resident Evil 3 turned into Resident Evil Code Veronica X.
I had that game.
Yes, for PlayStation 2.
Yep.
The worst control movement ever. It was terrible. I'm like going, it's like, I don't know, third person at an angle camera view.
Yeah.
And you're walking. I'm like, what's here? And then I'm getting eaten. I'm like, stop eating me. I can't see you. So I'm like shooting randomly. And then the stupid bats. The bats always got me.
Oh, God, yes. Those drive me
I
crazy.
wasted so much ammo in my Uzi. I'm just going around in a circle shooting these bats. But I started playing that again because I still have the original PS2 game on my PlayStation 3. And my PS3 just overheated.
Oh, man.
Was it like the original model PlayStation 3?
Yeah.
With the yellow ring of death?
Well, it didn't do yellow ring death. It just turned off, and then the red light just blinked. And then when I looked it up, it's like, oh, your thermal paste must be going out, and it's overheating.
No.
It's the one, I don't want to name, our one friend in high school bought it. And remember, he left the box next to the El Camino?
Oh, that's right.
It's that same PlayStation 3.
Oh, wow.
He sold it to me,
Way
and all the
back when.
games and the controller for like $100. He goes, I don't play anymore. You want it? I'm like, yeah.
Didn't we gift like the box to somebody and we played a prank on him? Just like, yeah, we got your PlayStation.
You did that to your brother.
Did I?
Yeah.
He's
you
like,
put
yeah,
a
right here. I
rocket
just
in
got a PlayStation 3. Oh my God, so great. He's like, there's nothing in it.
Yeah. I thought you put like a rock in it or
Yeah,
something.
and we weighted it down because it felt like it was heavy. It's like, oh my gosh, there's a game console in here. And he opens it, it's like, there's just a rock.
That reminds me of a story. It's not video game related, but it's kind of macabre, if you will. Something Kevin did to me one time years ago.
Oh my God. Oh, I think I know the story.
Okay. kind of off topic. So I remember Jeremy used to have like a million hamsters named Edward.
Oh yeah.
Was it a hamster or
No,
was
it
it
was
a
a gerbil.
gerbil?
Eddie the furry gerbil.
Eddie the gerbil.
Eddie the furry gerbil.
So one time,
Shout out.
I think it was Kevin handed me this Applebee's box.
It was like a
It
hot
was a
dog to-go container.
And he goes,
Here, Ashley, want a hot dog?
You want? I got you some leftover Applebee's. And I opened it, and it was Eddie. And he was dead.
Oh,
Yeah, it was a dead hamster. He just passed away, I think, that morning. And then Kevin, he put him in like an Applebee's container that we had left over. He just handed it to Ashley, and she's like, "What the heck is this?"
it's a jump scare.
It's a dead gerbil.
Yeah. Poor Eddie. Be forever immortalized in this episode.
Yeah. R.I.P. Eddie.
Yep.
I thought you were Applebee's leftovers.
Fantastic story.
So that's kind of along the
Yeah.
same
Scary,
line.
Yeah. Doesn't mean scary stuff.
That cemetery.
I wanted to kind of touch base because I got you in studio now, James. Because one of our favorite video game franchises growing up, Twisted Metal.
Yes.
And along the themes of horror, we always played like the third Twisted Metal and the fourth Twisted Metal, but we were all excited for Twisted Metal Black when it came out for the PlayStation 2. That one, to me, feels like a horror game.
Yes. It was so dark. It was a lot of cutscenes in it.
Yeah.
It was all cutscenes.
Almost
The
very
game-
cinematic.
The game wasn't really that good.
Yeah.
It really was. Control
It didn't
wise.
feel like Twisted Metal.
No, it didn't feel like Twisted Metal, but the storyline of how Sweet Tooth became Sweet Tooth and how the circus was coming through and
Yeah.
Calypso was like the main ringleader and
It all started in like an insane asylum.
Yeah.
And like their backstories were just graphic.
I
as
remember
hell.
you
graphic.
showing me the cutscenes because I never played the game, but
Yeah.
we looked up the cutscenes on YouTube, and I'm like, man, this is dark.
Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a complete 180 from like because Twisted Metal always had kind of like a weird like science, fiction-y, themey thing going on there.
yeah, it's like you have to win this game or you die.
Exactly.
Or
Yeah.
you get one wish. You get the one wish.
You get Calypso to give you one wish if you win the tournament, and then he's actually a playable character in the fourth
Yeah,
one.
he was the demon.
Yeah, he actually he had a cool special too, where he like launched a nuke out of this hilarious
Yes.
truck.
Yeah, the war.
He's
Yeah.
like,
A
I
nuke
can't
out of a
believe I'm
truck.
playing in this competition. I made it.
I know, but well, there's Calypso, but there wasn't there. I thought he was the demon, or was the demon a separate character? Remember,
Might have been a separate
remember
character.
the big demon dude that had like the skull belt? Or I gotta look.
Yeah, was that Minion? It's like
Minion.
I may be nightmare
That's
material.
it, yes.
that guy.
Yes.
Yep,
Minion.
he was like an unlockable character. I think in the third one.
Third one.
Yeah, he could play as like a giant tank. It's like holy crap.
I'm going to the Googles.
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
Twisted Metal. Minion Twisted Metal. Oh yeah, no.
yeah. He was definitely goated.
He had like a really skull for like a,
Oh, that guy.
a loincloth, but it's a skull.
Yeah, and then like the unlockable character we talked about before. The other one is Sweet Tooth. In
Isn't he,
Twisted
isn't he a
Metal.
clown?
Yeah.
Yes. I
Yeah,
hate
basically, yeah,
clowns.
he's like a crazy clown. In the third one, he's more like, I scream, you scream, we all scream for me.
That almost looks like the one guy from Spawn in the Spawn movie.
Yes.
Spawn movies were great.
But that character reminds me of the one.
Yeah, Minion from Twisted
Minion
Metal.
looks like is it the devil?
Yeah, the
Spawn
devil
movie. It
character.
looks like the devil in the
yeah,
Spawn movie.
I could see it.
Going back, because Spawn was made in what, 97? Everything came out in 97, 98.
Right.
Great years. But like, I remember I watched the movie again because the movie was great. It had Martin Sheen as like the main bad guy.
Yeah.
And I know the character he's in Ant-Man as the sidekick, the Hispanic gentleman.
What
remember
is
his
his
name.
name?
Yeah. We'll have to look it up.
I'm not. Wait.
Going to the Googles. I'm going to blow your mind on this. I'm going to blow your mind on
But he
this.
was also in Spawn.
Why am I thinking of John Leguizamo? That's not it.
No, Michael Pena.
Hmm.
This guy
Okay. Yeah.
was the clown on Spawn.
That's right.
Really?
Yes.
No
I
way.
found that out recently, and I'm like, no way. And yes.
Unbelievable.
Yes, he was.
The clown that was like
He
eating
was.
the maggots on pizza and everything?
Yeah.
I hate anchovies.
Wow.
I remember seeing that movie as a kid. I loved that movie.
That was a very dark movie, too. It's like, oh my
Oh,
gosh.
yeah.
But yeah, the graphics for that look kind of dated, but like
Today's standards, yeah.
the
but
Spawn suit was freaking sweet,
it was
though.
sweet. He had like the skull chains that came out of his like pecs and stuff.
And like
yeah.
the genital protector, like launch
yeah.
out of his belt and like stop that lady from kicking him in the
Kicking
groin.
him, yeah.
I'm just like, oh my gosh. Thought of everything with that thing.
But yeah, that movie. I mean, and that was like around the time Marilyn Manson was like the thing,
yeah.
and he had a song on there, and like my parents were like, no, not Marilyn Manson, because I was like 8 or 9. But the neighbors at where I grew up, they were like, the one daughter was really into Marilyn Manson, and I she got me into Marilyn Manson, that type of genre music,
Yeah.
because it was around the same time. Oh yeah, it's such
Was
a
that when
great
the Dope
soundtrack.
Show came out?
Yes.
When Marilyn Manson, he was in that video and he looked like he was naked, but not really.
Yes.
Was that, yeah.
The Dope Show. And just looking back, the music was great. Like, it was so dark, and like how he came back from hell and he's all steamy and he's walking through in the rain and had like the suit and everything, and the music's playing. It was so
cool.
It's very immersive.
It was.
Well, going back to Twisted Metal 3 too, the soundtrack, they had Rob Zombie.
Yeah, Rob Zombie
doing the
man.
soundtrack. It's like, oh my god.
Yeah, Dracula.
I love Rob Zombie. That's such a good song for that game.
That was. I'm just like, oh my god, what is that? Because I'm used to playing like, Nintendo happy-go-lucky game. Oh, we're playing as Mario. I go over to James' house and it's like Twisted Metal, and just like you're destroying the people are screaming. It's like,
I don't think my parents knew what games we were playing.
Yeah, I was just like, oh my god, this stuff's graphic. It's awesome.
Oh yeah, it's like the games. My dad's like, oh yeah. I remember when I tried to buy Metal Gear Solid at Walmart, and the lady's like, I can't sell this to you. It's rated M for mature. I'm like 9 or 10. I'm like, I want the game. So my dad would come over and buy the game with me beside him, and then he hands me the game, and he goes, there you go, and just stared at the lady.
Well, because my dad and I played video games together when I was growing up, so to him it wasn't a big deal. He's like, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't a big deal. I didn't do nothing came out of it like that, but just when Resident Evil 3 scared the crap out of me, that one.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's any other like.
My parents were heavily censoring everything. So I remember one time Ryan tried to buy this one, it was kind of like a sniper movie. And it's like, Mom, I really want to get this movie. And our mom's just like, Ryan, I'm not going to get you anything that has to do with shooting. Is this a shooting movie? Ryan's like, no. What's it called? Shooter?
Really?
It was called Shooter.
With Mark Wahlberg?
Yes. He wanted to buy that movie. He was trying to coax Mom into buying it. She's like, no way. Fantastic story.
God.
Oh, that's great.
And you hear the Mayor Brown, no, we
No,
don't want that.
Nope.
Unbelievable.
No, put that back.
Your mom was great.
Oh, yeah. Threatened to throw TVs out the window. Oh, yeah.
Did she ever actually do that?
No, she always threatened to do that.
I
but,
could
yeah.
see her doing that.
Oh, yeah, I could too.
I could see it.
I remember we used to have like the gun controllers for Nintendo. We would play with those and like, act like we're shooting each other. Shoot.
Oh, yeah.
No.
No.
Hey, now, don't do that.
Hey.
Yeah,
Hey.
we don't want that. No.
Your parents are great.
Oh, yeah.
But it's just so funny how you were like banned
From
playing-
anything.
from,
And it's like,
video
wow, I wonder
games.
why I play video games and everything so much now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, overly controlled. Like I said, wonderful childhood. We could roam like at our leisure in the backyard out in the countryside, go far out there. Like didn't go too far because there was a Vietnam vet guy at the very 3 miles down past the hill.
I remember him.
Yeah, they said there was like a whole bunch of do not enter, no trespassing, and he's a Vietnam vet. Do not mess with him. And I'm like, okay, message received.
Oh, yes, trap set.
That's what I mean. Might have machine gun nests or something. It's like nope.
Or that's like one of those bear traps.
Yeah.
Oh,
Step in his yard.
Yeah, no thanks. That's why we never ventured that far back in the woods. I'm like,
Yeah, because you had the field behind your house, right?
yeah, it was like a big pine tree forest, and then there was
Yes.
just a woodland area, and it was just lots of countryside.
Yeah.
And we were out there in the middle of the night a couple times. This is perfect for horror stuff. And Mark and I used to play what we called pine tree tag, where we kind of run between the pine trees and play tag. And then the only light you had was a full moon. And playing out there, just kind of you just hear rustling of feet going in between the pine trees. Oh, it was freaking great. Scary as shit.
That'd be
Awesome.
scary.
Nope.
But yeah, I remember one time Mark tagged me. I just sat there and looked, stared up at the moon, and he's just like, "Eric, you okay? You okay, Eric? You okay?" And he's slowly getting towards me, and I just go, "Ah!" And he just he screamed out so loud.
I remember
He
his
about
scream.
fainted. I'm like, "Oh my god!"
I remember
Sorry.
his scream.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, freaky stuff, man. But yeah, lots of fun.
It was a lot of fun. So, what I was mentioning earlier, I think Resident Evil 3 started my sleep paralysis.
That's what you
dreams.
said. Yeah.
Because I remember this vividly. I was freaky because I thought there was stuff in my room because I had the way my parents' house is set up. I had both rooms upstairs because I was the only child.
Mm-hmm.
But I would hate sleeping up there at night because I would see stuff, and so I slept on my couch, which was a very uncomfortable couch.
Yeah.
I look back at it, but for me when I was small, it was great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I would sleep there because it was downstairs on the main floor. But I remember my cat Sylvester, the orange
Oh yeah.
cat? I remember in the dream, I was chasing him. I had to go get something out of the garage. Mind you, I was a child. And then I was in my living room, and then Sylvester came. Oh, there's Sylvester, and then another Sylvester came,
Oh,
and I go, okay,
Two of
there's
them.
2 of them. So I go in my kitchen, and in the corner, I just saw this black figure in white pale eyes.
ugh.
I tried to scream,
Mhm.
and if I could feel myself trying to scream in real life, but trying to do it in the dream, and then I woke up. Ever since then, when I have sleep paralysis, I see the same exact figure
Ugh.
Oh, that's so weird.
Yeah, freaky.
every single
Ugh.
time, and
They call it the sleep paralysis demon or
it was
something.
sleep
your
paralysis
sleep demon.
demon,
Ugh.
and it's to the point where that I was around 8 or 9 or so. It stopped for a bit, and then it started happening in college again.
Whoa.
When I got out of the dorms and when co-op and stuff like that, so I lived at home for that time because I got a newer car. I just drove from there, and it was a weird sensation. I would fall asleep, and it's within 30 minutes it happens. It's not like people say 3 a.m. or 3:33. It always happens then.
Yeah.
It was always 30 minutes after I fall asleep. I would be frozen, see the figure, and it would just stay there.
Ugh.
And I tried to scream or try to move, but then I started waking myself up because it looked like curtains coming up with my eyes, the feeling, and then I was awake. And then trying to go back to sleep,
Yeah.
I'm like, I want to wait a little bit and make sure I don't fall back into the same dream. It happened a couple times during college, and then it happened a couple times in my current house.
Jeez Louise.
That is so freaky.
Yeah, it's the same sleep paralysis demon.
Weird.
Every single time. And it's always the same. I see him, I try to do something, I can't, I'm frozen, I'm looking at him, but then the whole, I'm waking myself up because it's like I said, a curtain moving up, or the light starts shining really bright, I'm coming out of being asleep in the dream world, and then boom. It's the weirdest thing.
Yeah.
That is so weird.
Freaky. I've heard of reoccurring dreams, but reoccurring sleep paralysis, that's another level.
Same thing.
No thanks.
I remember having a nightmare where I knew I was having a nightmare, and I kept trying to wake up, and I wouldn't wake up, and I can't even remember what it was, but I woke up, and then as soon as I fell back asleep, I went back into the nightmare again.
That's what I was always afraid of, is going back into the nightmare.
I'm trying to recall if I've ever done that, going back into the same nightmare.
I've done that a few times.
I've had reoccurring nightmares, but they've never been sequential where I get them back to back, in the same sleep night. When I go back to sleep after I have a nightmare, I'm in a different dream. It's never the same one.
If I have a really bad dream, I won't want to go back. I won't want to go to sleep afterwards because I'm afraid I'll go back into it.
I don't blame you.
But my only nightmares are the sleep paralysis ones. I don't really have.
Yeah.
Well, I had one nightmare recently, which was really weird. Somebody I knew was possessed, and I was yelling at them to get out, and then I turned back, and there was another one, and then I woke up.
Whoa.
Yeah, the supernatural stuff I get into.
Yeah.
I find it very interesting.
Oh yeah.
I mean, if you believe it or not, I don't know. But I find with the movies, supernatural stuff is what I go to, and the kind of the psycho thrillers, mess with your mind type suspense thrillers, I get into. The slasher movies, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's whatever, it's slasher movies to me. I enjoy it, but
Yeah.
I have a couple real life spooky stories from work. I can say I'm not going to mention any names.
I was going to say no name, please, but yeah, go ahead and share.
So where I work with older people. So some of the people there who live there, they pass away sometimes. So one night, this resident passed away a long time ago. One of my third shift caregivers, it was early. She calls me. I'm going to give this guy a different name. I'm going to call him
Greg or something.
Greg. We'll say Greg. And she goes, she's from the South. She goes, Ashley, I think Greg's still here. I'm like, what do you mean Greg's still here? She's like, his door slammed. It was third shift, in the middle of the night. She's like, I swear I walked by his door and his door slammed.
Nope.
And I'm like, are you sure you're not just tired? And she's like, no, Greg's still here.
Nope.
And she swore up and down when she was working at night, his door was slamming. And then we had another lady, I'm going to call her Nancy. When she lived with us, and she passed away a long time ago, she was always cold. This itty bitty lady, she was always cold. So her room was like a sauna. Like it was like 85, 86
Oh
degrees.
yeah,
It
that's
was
very normal for
so
retirement.
hot in
Yeah.
her room. That's how a lot of them are.
Oh yeah.
yeah.
But after she passed away, we turned down, because maintenance would have to go in there. We turned down the heat because they would sweat to death in there. Every time we'd go back into her room, it was turned back up to 86. Every single time.
Wild.
Every single time. And it's not one of those ones where you like can preset the times and stuff.
Here's your sign.
Yeah, every time. So we're like, oh, Nancy must still be in here.
Yeah.
'Cause, I mean, every single time.
That kind of reminds me of one time. You remember how I used to have my bedroom at my parents' house? It was downstairs for a while.
Yes.
I remember there was one time I was sleeping in bed. I woke up and I just, for some reason, just felt a familiar presence of, my grandparents, Grandma and Grandpa Brown. And I felt like they were looking at me from like across, like basically cat a corner across the way from where I was in bed, just kind of like a comforting presence just watching over me. I'm like, this is weird. Because I think I just woke up from a dream where I think they were like, I was conversing with them or talking with them or something like that. And yeah, I woke up and just looked over in the corner. I just felt like they were there. Like just weird. Like the presence of like what I would feel when I would go to my grandma's house when I was a kid. I'm just like, it feels like they're over there. And that's strange. But it wasn't freaky. I'm just freaky, like, I was a comforting thing. I'm like,
reassuring.
Okay, well, I think they're probably in a better place now. But yeah, if they're watching over me, hey, it's great.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, just feeling like that type of like, I don't know, like energy type thing. But like, no, it felt like they were in the room with me. I'm like, whoa.
Well, the one time when I was working, I used to pick up extra hours at our front desk, kind of like evening security, if you will. Mm-hmm. So I'd work till like 11 o'clock. And you're supposed to do rounds around the building.
That would freak me out.
And so, I mean, it's not dark, but, you're walking around, it's quiet. I mean, the third floor, on the one section, third floor, it's a little bit dark. It's an older building, so it's dark. I was walking down the hall one time, and one of the doors to the stairwell was moving. Mm-mm. And it was creaking, and I turned around, I was looking at the door, I'm like, nope, and I went right back the other way. And our one maintenance guy's like, oh no, it's just because of the air in the stairwell. But there was a resident over in that section of the hallway who had just passed away. Mm-mm. And I'm like, nope, I'm going back down to the front desk. I'm going back down. I'm not going anywhere else.
Mm.
Stuff like that's happened to me. I had remember my like entertainment center, like my parents, like the old one they gave me.
Oh yeah.
So I had that there, and it had a TV, had a VCR on top, and then my stereo system above that. It would just happen randomly. I would always have a videotape in the VCR. Like I'm watching a movie and just leave it in there and just go back to later. Mm-hmm. I'm playing video games at night, and all of a sudden it just turns on and spits the videotape out at me.
Whoa.
And I literally just look and I go, It happened at least probably 2 or 3 times.
Mm.
But the one thing that got me was my stereo system would turn on and play a CD full blast, or turn on the radio full blast.
Wild.
Mind you, I'm on the floor playing video games, and it would turn on. That happened multiple times.
Yeah.
That's why I hated sleeping in my room, and I like sleeping on the couch downstairs because I was away from all of that.
Will
that
admit
is so
now,
freaky.
Looking back during our childhood, I was kind of creeped out going up to your room because you go up and it was like going up almost to like an attic because it was like the very top of the steps. There was your bedroom to the left. There was like a storage room or like a game room to the right.
Yeah.
And then there was like that little... It was like a little compartment nook.
Yeah, but they had an access to the one side of the attic, right?
Yeah, and I'm just like, this feels kind of like, it's kind of creepy.
Yeah, it's like a Cape Cod style house.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
Very different.
Yeah, it was very different. But
yeah, it did kind of creep me out a little bit. I'm just like, kind of freaky.
Yeah, those things happen multiple times. Which
Did anybody live in that house before you guys?
Yes. The house is built, I think, like in the 40s. 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
It used to be a barn, a wagon barn, and a chicken coop, and they converted it into a house.
Maybe it was haunted by a chicken.
I don't. The stupid chicken throwing videotapes at me. But no, like those things happen to me, and yeah, the sleep paralysis. Those are like the craziest things that's happened to me.
I've been through sleep paralysis. You want nothing to do with that stuff. It's freaky.
It's so weird. Well, recently, actually, my daughter, she has some toys, and this one is a rocking horse that my parents got her. Mm-hmm. And if you press its ear, it would sing a song. Mm-hmm. It would be like, it's like, I'm a rockin' pony, hippity hop. And I hated it because everything made noise, and I heard it 50 billion times. So one night, it's like 11:30 at night. It's in the family room, And I was like cleaning up, for my robotic vacuum to vacuum. I was putting up like stools and chairs and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
My daughter's asleep. My wife's asleep. I'm the only one. I am 30 to 40 feet away from this horse in a whole totally different room. And all of a sudden I hear, I'm a rockin' pony.
Oh, nope.
I literally
Just like get up and like, I'm out of here.
I said out loud to myself, I'm like, not in my house.
Throw a shoe at it.
I texted my mom the next day. I'm like, I'm getting rid of this thing. It went off by itself, and I was 10 to 20. I was away from it in a whole other room, and it went off. Not in my house. I don't know, and it only happened once.
That reminds me of the story our sister-in-law told us about was it Madison with the Furby?
Oh yeah, how basically this is Ryan's father-in-law. His name was John. He basically went up in the attic. They bought a Furby a long time ago.
Well, that was a fad back then.
Yeah. Back in the 90s, everybody had a freaking Furby. But it had been stored away in their attic for years. And he finally went back up after, decades here. Went back up in the attic. He had a flashlight. It was kind of shining the flashlight around. Just kind of like doing a nice 360. He zooms over as he's almost halfway through his, rotation there. Furby, comes into his light, opens its eyes, looks at him and says, feed me.
Oh, no.
And he about fell back down the stairs.
Nope.
Nope.
Yeah. Oh, that was a freaky story. I was actually going to talk about another one, too, where, did I ever tell you about the haunted train? It was like this little toy train that Mom and Dad bought for either Ryan or Jeremy.
I've never heard this story. No.
Yeah, and literally, this thing, it just kept going. It was like, and it just kept playing again and again and again. Mom and Dad literally took the batteries out. It still kept playing. And Dad's like, look, there are no batteries in this thing. It's not plugged in. There's no wires, nothing. And they tried, they filled up the sink. They drowned it in the sink. You're pulled it back out. It still kept going. He eventually he put it inside of a pillowcase, left it out in the trash can. You just hear. Finally, after 2 days, it stopped.
Really?
But we're just like, what is with this haunted ghost train?
The ghost train.
No batteries in it, and it still kept playing. I'm like,
I can see your
this
dad.
thing's possessed.
I can see your dad trying to drown.
Yeah, he's just sitting there. He's like, look at this. I'm drowning the stupid thing. It's still working. But just, I'm like, man, what is in that train?
Oh, man.
The spirit.
No batteries required. And that was freaky. I'm just like, what is with this possessed train? This is scary stuff, man.
Oh my god. I do remember you telling me that story.
Yeah, I literally drowned the thing. I'm just like, yeah, how does an electronic thing still work after being submerged in water?
Yeah, really.
Yeah. It was the wildest thing. I'm like, ugh.
Yeah, so, I mean, I didn't have anything else really happen to me. Oh, actually, I do. The sleep paralysis demon again. I was at my grandmother's house. So the way my grandmother's house, it was a smaller house, ranch style house. And she had the living room and then a hallway, bathroom to the left, dining room to the right, her bedroom, and then another bedroom. And I would sleep in that other bedroom, and I remember seeing a figure, like the sleep paralysis demon. I forget how old I was, but I remember her telling me before, she was very religious. To the I went to her church. I mean, at the time I wasn't religious or anything at the time, and her church was one of the ones that they speak in tongues and they sound crazy, and I'm like, okay, it's. I mean, she didn't do that, but she would explain to me when I was 8, yeah, they're speaking this. I'm like, this. It just sounds like gibberish to me. I don't know what this is. I remember her telling me, because I told her about it, or we were talking about stuff like that. And that she had a demon in the house in her bedroom, and then she told it to go away. You are not bothering me, go away. And then I think she told me that story before, and then that I saw that later on. I don't know, it would have been months or whatever. I saw the same thing in her house. And she goes, oh yeah, it's happened before. And I go, excuse me? No. A stupid sleep paralysis demon.
Yeah. How many times would you say you've seen the thing? Because it sounds like multiple, at least about 7 times?
Yeah, at least half a dozen to 7 times, yeah. Oh, yeah, same thing. It's just a black figure looking at me. I don't see a mouth. I don't see a nose, nothing, just the eyes.
See, I have not seen the sleep paralysis demon, but like I said, I've been through sleep paralysis before, where it's like the series of like all the different. I forced myself awake multiple times.
Yeah.
Then I had the whole graveyard dream, and then literally just immobilized. I couldn't move. Could you move in yours too?
Nope. I was frozen.
Yep.
I was
Same
frozen
thing.
the entire time.
I felt like the lights were all dim too, and I'm just like,
Yep.
Because I've had sleep paralysis before, and I don't remember seeing anything.
Yeah.
But I couldn't move.
You can move your eyes though,
But
right?
Yes.
I heard like a radio static buzzing
Yes.
noise.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that's all I could hear, and I'm like trying to wake up.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it happens more when you're trying to wake up.
Exactly.
Yeah, and because I'm sitting there and I can't, and I get freaked out because I remember the first time it happened.
Mm-hmm.
I think it might have been in high school the first time that happened. And yeah, and I just heard just the buzzing noise, and it was so loud.
Mm-hmm.
And I woke up and I'm like, what was that?
Yep.
Yep.
What was that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
for me it was just everything. Yeah, just kind of type of noise, and then just suddenly boom, lights kick back on. This big whisk of light comes from like the right side of the room to the left side of the room, and I just suddenly regain my faculties. I'm just like, oh, and I was on a waterbed too, so mine was like shaking like crazy during that time.
Yeah, every single time I've tried to scream or yell or something
Yeah,
in it.
you
and I
can't. You can't even get a breath. You're like,
Nope.
Yep.
Yeah, it hasn't really.
wild.
It's never really sat on me. I know some people have said that the sleep paralysis demon like would sit on them.
actually physically interact with you.
well,
Yeah.
just that's that weight.
That feel, you get
Yeah.
that feeling in your chest,
Oh.
like a heaviness.
Mine's always either in the corner, like say if I'm in my bed, it's like in the corner watching me, or it's like this close
Yeah.
and just watching me.
Like I said, never saw a demon, but I did see like a big whisk of light. Could have been like almost like an angelic in a form, and it just basically just one side or the other, and just all the lights kick on. And I'm just like, whoa, I'm back. Wild.
Yeah.
So it's so weird the different experiences we all have with these things. It's like, ugh.
Well, I did just remember another spooky thing that happened at my old job.
Mm-hmm.
Not my curse. This was my old job. This was at the other assisted living I worked at. This was well over a decade ago.
Mm-hmm.
There was a really, really, really mean lady that lived in one of the hallways, and I mean, she was mean. And after she passed, one of the caregivers went down because she lived. There were like 4 hallways, and she lived down at the very end. And I think was she working at night or the early morning? I forget. So she was walking down the hall. She walked by her room, and she said it got so cold, and she swears she felt something brush her arm.
Nope.
So she told the director of nursing, she's like, I am not working in that hallway ever again. And I swear to you, because I was an activity assistant then, so I swear one time, it was shortly after she passed, I was going down that hallway gathering residents for activities, and it was cold. It was cold at that end of the hallway. Just at that end of the hallway. Like right where her apartment was. I'm like, why is it so cold down here? And somebody's like, oh yeah, that's Martha. And that was the first time I ever had an experience like that working where I worked. Because,
Like, nope.
where the field I work in, I mean, I've seen a lot of death.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's
And-
gonna happen naturally,
yeah.
like with
But
elder care.
that was the first time I've ever experienced something like that.
Supernatural.
Yeah.
Well, I just remember going to, not to get down like a more of a morbid rabbit hole here, but going to hospice is probably one of the more traumatic experiences a person can go
Oh,
through.
yeah.
Like we were there, and
But
literally,
when
like,
my grandma was dying.
exactly, yeah, when your grandma was passing away, literally the night before, there was literally a lady like almost moaning across the hallway, "I love you, Ma! I love you, Ma!" And we're just like, oh
Yeah,
my
that
God.
was, yeah.
How did those nurses do it? Like, oh my God, the emotional roller coaster you would be taking every night. Just seeing families just weeping and sobbing. And,
Oh, you become numb to it.
yeah,
Imagine all the spooky stuff you see working in a hospice.
that's what I mean. Like, yeah. Like,
Or a hospital.
we're talking about this with nursing home. Yeah, imagine, an actual hospice. Like, I'm sure they get all kinds of, like, paranormal stuff going on.
Well, I've seen videos from, like, nurses,
Yeah.
like, when they're working in a hospital or something, and, like, if you see something spooky, no, you didn't. Just ignore it. Like, because
That didn't happen.
Because I think I was watching a TikTok of this one nurse, and she saw stuff happening, and the one nurse is like, no, you didn't. No, you didn't.
Gaslighting.
Well, no.
There is no warm bossing. So.
No,
Yeah.
she was telling her to just, like, she agreed that there's stuff happening, but you just let it, you don't,
leave it be.
you don't acknowledge it.
Don't acknowledge the supernatural.
That reminds me of the movie The Exorcist. I think it was the third Exorcist.
Mm-hmm.
Was it the second one? Yeah, the third one was when they were in the hospital, and the one, I think the one pastor gets possessed at the end. It was one of the crazy guys, but it shows like they were like in a mental hospital, and the nurse like goes into one side, and then when she walks back, like the demon's under like a sheet and chasing her with bush shears to cut her head off.
Oh God, yeah.
That scene always gets me.
I forgot about. It's been so long since I've seen that movie.
There was a thing I wanted to kind of segue off of too, talking about like spooky experiences with things and like paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
You ever hear about? I think it's Eastern Airlines Flight 104 that crashed in the Everglades. They recovered a lot of the pieces, parts from that airplane, and they put it into newer aircraft. And all of a sudden, like a bunch of like, there was experiences with like these parts on particular aircraft, the newer aircraft that had these possessed parts, where there would be interactions with very weird stewardesses or captains that would appear out of nowhere and just be like, "Hey, double check the wiring underneath that counter there." And they go to check it, and they go turn back, and they're gone.
Nope.
It's like the old captains and crew from that like plane are basically coming back and warning other flights about like stuff that could go wrong.
I don't want to fly now.
That reminds me, did this happen in Japan? Oh, I'm trying to remember what it was, but like they would pick up these taxi drivers would pick up these passengers, and they turned out they were not, like they would take them to this address, and when they look back in their taxi, there was no one there.
Mm-mm. Yes, I heard that one.
What was that? It was after, I don't know if it was after some sort of natural disaster.
Yeah.
The tsunami.
Yeah.
It was after the tsunami in Japan, and these cab drivers were picking up passengers.
Like, take me to this address. They get there, gone.
Oh.
And this one, I think they talked to the one taxi driver, and he knew they were ghosts, and he was still picking them up to help them along on their journey.
Jeez.
Yeah.
It's like getting ghosted again.
Ghost.
I get paid for this?
He's like, not again. I got the meter running. Damn it. Getting ghosted as a taxi driver. They just jump out the last second. He has no idea.
Before, if we go to like movies before that, but do you guys do haunted houses?
Honestly, I don't think we've ever been to one.
And the whole time we've been together, we've never been to a haunted house.
Well, technically, we've been to like a haunted house ride over in Ocean City. It was extremely dated. It's laughably bad. I know, like the actual haunted house. Have we been to a haunted corn maze? I think we talked about.
We went during the day one time. That's not like
Yeah, but no, like they actually have haunted corn mazes where they have guys with like chainsaws and.
Oh yeah. My wife and I, we've gone through a few.
Yeah. How'd you guys do? You like it?
Oh, I like the jump scare feeling, the adrenaline rush. Mm-hmm. But if I lead and they do a jump scare, I always like throw my fist back because that's just my natural reaction.
Yeah.
And they always like, and I'm like, I'm sorry. I don't mean to. I'm not going to hit you. My favorite one was actually Factory of Terror.
I keep hearing good things about that one.
That one was fantastic because one, you get your money's worth. Well, back then you got, I don't know what it's like now, but you get your money's worth on length of time.
Mm-hmm.
And you're waiting. There's like people walking around while you're waiting.
Yeah.
And my wife is very petite, very small. And she actually knew the one guy. She worked with the one guy. She recognized him and said his name. And he was in character, and he stops, and he's still in character. He goes, "Oh, hi, I haven't seen you in a while," but just still playing in character.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, "Hey, how's it going?" And then he like kept going. But another person that was working saw him, and he's like this big dude, like 6'5", like 350 pounds, baby. Picks up my wife by the arms, picks her up, and just takes her away. And I go, "Bye. I'm not going to do this.
You're fending for yourself."
Yeah. But like,
wild.
Like that stuff is fun because they'll like come by with like chainsaws, but there's no chain. But
do you have to sign like a disclosure thing, like you're allowed to touch me or something like that?
No, I know a lot of them in Ohio they don't allow that unless they like quickly like nip at your ankle if they're like one. Yeah. One I remember she was a contortionist. She was underneath a bed and I didn't know, and it was like in a haunted like hospital portion.
God.
And she
doing like a crawl walk at you.
She did like she bit at my ankles with her fingers. I got you. I was like, no.
Ankle biter. No.
But the Factory of Terror was fun because you go and then there's a halfway point where you can get like snacks or like a drink, and then you go through a second round. And there was like the mirror maze, and it would jump at you. And then there's one, it messes with your equilibrium because it's like spinning all these colors, and you're on a little walkway.
I think that might have been the one me and my friend Sarah went to in middle school. Because I've been to a haunted house once.
Yeah.
And I think that might have been the one we went to.
And I remember I was leading. It was me and my wife. I think it was just two of us. And I was going, and I closed my eyes and just kept walking. And when I woke up, that big dude, he was just standing there looking at me. I go,
Hello.
Like, hi.
hi.
Don't hurt me.
But that one was good. Like we went to the haunted schoolhouse laboratory. It was all right. There's one if you're like claustrophobic, like these like inflatable like cushions like close you in. You have to walk through. My wife loves those. She was leading the way and it happened. She goes, I love these, and she's jumping up and down as she's going into it. And I'm like, ay.
Okay, one thing I want to do at least one time. I want to go to the Mansfield Reformatory. I want to stay the night there. You could do that.
But you pay big bucks
but I want to do
October in particular.
I want to do it one time.
So that, yes, we actually did the Mansfield Reformatory as a haunted house. Not worth it. Sorry, Mansfield. I'm sorry.
Really?
I don't know, maybe they're having issues. Well, one, the wait was forever.
That's what I mean.
Bet.
It's so overpopular there now. It's like,
I would like to go back to the prison to see it as the prison.
Yeah.
It would be really interesting because, I mean, you get to go through and you're like, wow, look at all this stuff. And
why not? You can stay the night in the cells, right?
Yeah.
You're the
I've heard about
clanging.
that, and I think that would be cool. But the actual haunted house, it was too cheesy, and it was less than an hour, and you were done. And I'm like, I waited 2.5, 3 hours for this, and during it, one of the smoke machines like triggered the alarm, and then the lights turned on.
Oh,
and they're like, "Oh, you gotta wait," blah, blah, blah. And they're going. I'm like, I paid how much for this? And
I'd be ticked.
I mean, like I said, going through. I mean, you can just see it coming. It's like, oh, they're going to jump out of this cell, and everything. I'm like, oh, there it is. My favorite one we went to when my wife was in grad school. It was down in the Dayton area. It was actually down in a mine.
Ooh. That's wild.
You went underground, and it was me, her...
Claustrophobia factor.
Well, it was me, her, and her one friend, one of her classmates. And mind you, it's huge. It's massive. They have a school bus down in the mine.
Wow.
And they force you to go into the school bus to go through, and they're in the seats, and they're getting you there. And I remember the cushions and all that stuff came out, but like you literally go down at an angle into this mine. And the crazy part, they had like a theatrical set of it, and they get you all in this opening, and there's like oil cans, like 55-gallon drums everywhere. And this dude dressed up as Satan comes out, and he's making a speech, and he goes, "Oh, welcome, blah 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 blah." And then
welcome to hell, motherfucker.
Well, then when he threw his arms down, fire came out of the drums.
Whoa.
And then people with chainsaws came out of nowhere and chased you. Like they didn't just like, oh, yeah, right now. No, they literally chased you. I remember seeing this one girl bolting, and he's right behind her with a chainsaw.
Just ripping it.
And then they're like, pick which door you need to go to, and they gave you a few options, and it's like, go. You're being chased. You need to figure it out.
That would scare the crap out of me.
That one was my favorite.
That's freaky.
It was so much fun. I forget where exactly that was. I got to look that up. But that one was so much fun.
What do they do if somebody just has a panic attack in the middle of what do they do?
Right.
I mean, I think if they realize it, they might break character and
exactly.
They might leave you
emergency
alone.
mode.
Yeah.
Yeah, because a lot of them are really nice and they'll help you out. I remember the one. It was I think it was up here, the haunted laboratory or whatever, and I saw the dude in the corner. I'm like, I see you, and he goes, "Hey." He's talking trash. I'm like, whatever. I'm like, hit the Tesla coil. Okay, whatever.
Like, oh, that's supposed to be a jump scare.
Yeah, and some of those are but the one down in I think it was around the Dayton area in the mine was so much fun.
That would be worth it to me.
In the mines.
Yeah,
because like I said, that adds a claustrophobia factor too. It's like we're underground right now.
Yeah,
how are we supposed to escape other than just going back up the tunnel?
Yeah, they put you in a circle and they brought you back up. It was so much fun. Some of them had the stupid oh, there's a big spider, and I'm like, ooh, big spider. No, it's the jump scares, the adrenaline rush is so much fun.
It's the IRS. Oh God, go.
Okay, so that kind of reminds me. Speaking of going underground, remember when we went to
Ruby Falls?
Ruby Falls. Now this place is not scary.
No, but it's freaky going into this thing because there's a elevator you get in there, glass elevator. Like at least the very front part, like where it opens the door, is the glass. And how far did we go underground?
Oh, hundreds of feet. So
and you're seeing rock formation, rock formation, rock formation.
and we're literally under a mountain, and I'm like,
and then it finally opens the door, like, okay, everybody get out. Even though we're like 3,000 feet below, like a freaking rock. I'm just like,
it's like there's
one
nothing above
earthquake,
us.
and it's gonna be
Yeah, then we're screwed.
Yeah.
And we're just like,
The waterfall was cool.
And the tour guide's just like, yeah, we come down here and we watch like the Georgia Bulldogs games. And, yeah, it's great. I'm just like, down below a mountain. It's like, if there's an earthquake, you guys are screwed. What are you thinking? But he's just like, yeah, it's kind of great, man. Natural air conditioning.
It was really cool down there. But yeah. But yeah, thinking about that, it's like, it is a little scary. We're like hundreds of feet underground with nothing but thousands upon thousands of pounds of rocks above us.
Have you done Willis Tower in Chicago?
No, never been to Chicago, actually. Actually, I flew into Chicago, but never really been there with Ashley.
I went to Chicago in high school with my marching band.
For a band trip.
The Willis Tower, we did that, and it was crazy because the elevator is so fast. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're at the top of the Empire State Building. And it just keeps going. Yeah. And we're waiting, and I'm like, oh, this is really cool. Yeah, and you see, like, airplanes going by, you know, like, at eye level going into O'Hare. And we did the whole, you go out into that glass formation.
Oh, I think I saw pictures of you guys doing that.
Mind you, I look happy. I was telling her, hurry up. I mean, it's not like scary like paranormal, but it's not just one group. You're in one corner, and there's another group of people in the other corner. I'm thinking to myself, okay, before I went out, I tapped the glass. I was like, is this good? Okay. They had one woman. She had a panic attack.
Oh,
and she could not stand up, and she was so scared. She's stuck out there, and we're like, "Just come on back." And someone's holding her hand, a grown woman, crawling and freaking out. And I looked at Carly. I was like, "Do you want to do this?" She goes, "Yes." I'm like, "Of course you do." And so I go out there. I'm like, "Oh, this is cool." Oh my goodness!
Looking straight down, you're like
very high up. And what got me, the picture you saw is us laying down. It threw my equilibrium off.
Oh, I bet.
Because it's like I'm staying on something, but there's nothing under me. And I looked at Carl. I'm like, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. I'm thrown off. Like, my body doesn't know where I'm at. Because you just see sky. And then people were like, oh, yeah, having fun, taking pictures. I'm like, hurry up and take the picture. I'm going to puke.
You think what I'm thinking? Also, that trip we did to Chattanooga. The incline railway.
Oh, God. Okay.
That triggered a panic attack in me. That was the last time I had a panic attack. Because I had one coming back from France flying over. But the only second one I ever had was the incline railway down in Chattanooga.
It was cool.
Yeah.
Like, the scenery was really nice. But you're literally going up a mountain and
in reverse.
You're going backwards. And
they have you sit down. You're looking back. You're like, okay, you see the train track going down. And all of a sudden it clicks up. Okay, you're going up 15-degree grade. Another 15-degree grade.
And eventually you're like this.
And then, like, there's a kid just like, it goes back even further. And we're all just, like, sweating bullets already. We're like, further. Tilts back another, like, 30 degrees. And we're, like, almost falling forward. And we're, like, going up. And we're just looking straight down at the ground. We're like...
Mind you, we're in the back of the train, which is technically the front, like, you could see.
Yeah, everything.
Yes.
Where you're going. And then, like, we get to the very top. And we're just like... They're like, okay, everybody, please exit out the back of the train. We're like, everybody was scrambling to get to the top and out of there. And I'm like, should we get a taxi to just taxi down and not go down?
Because I just had visions of like the cable snapping. And the just phew.
There was multiple safety things they had. They're just oh yeah, this is an old cable about 100 years old. I'm like, that doesn't do anything to comfort us.
Final destination.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just like,
Well, I'm thinking one time. So that glass thing you were talking about reminded me. Have you guys, or do you know where the Kinzu Bridge is in Pennsylvania?
Yes.
So.
Yes.
It was this old train bridge. I think you've seen pictures of it. It's an old train bridge.
The one that's like fallen down.
It got destroyed by a tornado.
Okay.
So half of it's still up. So you can go, if you go to this trail, you could go there, hike the trail, go up to the bridge. And my poor dad is super, super, super afraid of heights. And on top of the bridge, there's this square that's just nothing but glass, and you could see straight down. And he wouldn't do it. He wouldn't do it. I walked out a little bit. I walked right over it, and he's like, nope,
sorry.
Not doing it.
Is it this area right here?
Yes, that's Kinzu Bridge.
You just walk out, and so high up.
It's such a cool place to go, but if you're afraid of heights, that square thing.
Look at all the metal debris from like the collapse of the bridge. Yeah.
How far is it from here, you'd say?
About 3 hours.
3 hours? That's not bad.
Because that's when we went to New York, and then on the way home, we're like, oh, this place looks cool. Let's go here.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're afraid of heights, it would be a freaky place to go.
With this former construction job I used to have, I used to climb up like the scaffolding to get up to like the top of a 6-story building.
Nope.
And walking up this rickety ladder where it's like... and you can literally look down and you're like, oh, there's the pavement. Oh. So yeah, I do have a little bit of fear of heights, but I'm like, I can kind of get over it. Flying, like, little bit of freakiness.
See, for me, I hate heights. Mm-hmm. I hate heights that if I fall, it'll paralyze me and I'm still alive. If it's a height that it's like flying, something happens, I'm dead. I can't control it. Okay, it's just going to happen in like 30 seconds, done. If it's, okay, I fall and I'm going to be paralyzed from the neck down, I don't want that. Because it's just that mentality, like, why would I want to be alive anymore? Mm-hmm. You know?
Sometimes we very morbidly joke at work that we're all going to hold hands and jump off the building. But we're like, no, it wouldn't kill us, so it's not worth it.
Yeah.
See, I go back to like the whole moral consequence thing of like, you know, if you had the choice of like, you know, their deaths, I think back to like the 9/11 thing, like where people had to choose between burning to death, suffocating from smoke, or jumping. And like there was literally, I ended up watching this new footage thing where a lot of this was edited out, but like they showed like a bunch of firefighters and you just heard thud.
Oh yeah.
Thud all around them.
There was pictures, people grabbed pictures of them falling out.
Yeah, falling, man.
Oh my.
But just like, yeah. The people during that, you know, tragedy literally had to make a choice. Like, you know, how did they want to do it? And I mean, burning to death, I think would be terrible. The suffocation would be terrible. And then the collapse, it's like,
Yeah, I mean, people didn't realize it was going to collapse at the time.
Yeah.
When, you know,
that's why all the firefighters were like, they were all in the stairwells and everything. Actually, some survived in the stairwells, I think, right? Or the elevator shaft?
I think something like that.
Yeah.
Well, what got him later was cancer.
Yeah.
Breathing all the dust.
Exactly. Yeah, all the debris from everything.
Well, he died from cancer like 6 years later. I'm like, wow, that was relatively quick.
That was quick.
I think most of that dust and debris was actually like what? It was fire repellent or something like that?
Yeah, fire retardants and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Ironically. It's like, oh my gosh. Yeah, because all that, you remember seeing the pictures of, you know, the 9/11 survivor, and they were covered in all that white powder. Yeah. That was it.
I remember, the one lady, they showed her, she was famous on the one picture, and she died, I think, like 5 or 6 years later from cancer.
Yep.
Wow.
And there was like a lot of the firefighters and everything too.
Yeah, it's terrible. It was terrible.
But yeah, I think about, you know, when we're talking about falling and jumping stuff, I'm like, oh, I just harken back to that, you know, very
imagine the
time.
Fear.
No.
Hey, what do you do in that situation? Like, what do you do?
Like, you know, honestly, if you worked in a high rise, like, would it be more beneficial just to have a parachute or like a gliding suit on hand, just to have?
I think I would get a parachute just in case.
Yeah, just so you can go up to the very top and just jump, so that way you're able to like safely glide down.
That's just that's freaky. I mean,
right?
it's terrible to think about it. Like that was the last thing.
I couldn't even imagine being in that situation.
Yep. Well, they said, you know, what was it, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory? That was the reason why we have like sprinkler systems in different buildings now, because they were trapped on like the top floor making Triangle Shirtwaist things, and a fire broke out on floors below them, and it just went up, and like there was nothing they could do. The firemen didn't have like long enough ladders or hoses to get up there, and they just burned. And from there, that tragedy came a lot of the fire sprinkler systems we have today.
Wow.
So and much like Titanic, you know, when Titanic sank, then now like modernized lifeboats and everything's like standard on. You know,
that's
ships.
kind of a primal fear of mine, drowning.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Yeah. No thanks.
I mean, I know how to swim.
Yeah.
I'm a pretty good swimmer. I'm a decent swimmer, but yeah.
But mine's
deep water.
Yeah. Mine's like claustrophobic while underwater. Like you're locked in an airtight room on a sunken ship or something like that. That's like no.
Okay, the videos another fear I have, and I keep seeing these videos on TikTok, are these cave explorer guys
that get trapped
that
in
are
the cave.
trapped in the little tiny cave.
Yes. Why do they do that?
Well, they're like, oh, I think I could squeeze through.
Yeah, I know this way around.
Yeah.
And like a rock falls on their foot and they can't move, and it's just like
that is every time I watch a video like that, I get like I get the heebie-jeebies. Like I hate it. Like ugh.
No.
The best part about cave diving,
you don't have to do it.
Nope. It's the most beautiful part of the whole thing.
Yeah, no thank you.
No, thank you.
No thanks.
Well, not just that, but also like diving way down, like underwater while going through caves. There's those type of things too, where it's like, I ended up watching going down the rabbit hole of this guy. He was trying to find like a lost diver that was like lost down in these underwater caves. And it like while going to rescue the guy, he ran out of oxygen too, but he tied like the guy's corpse to him. And I think his dive team ended up finding him with the rescued diver that was dead, basically all tied together. So they basically hauled both their corpses out. But it's just like, why do that stuff?
Yeah, no. No drowning, no small areas like that. I'm not like really claustrophobic in a way, But yeah, the
But thinking of stuff like that freaks me out.
Well, underwater stuff especially, because like, okay, we hear about like it's like what almost a year past the whole like Titanic submarine incident.
God.
How about that way to go? Where those guys were liquefied, they were just
they were dumb.
Oh,
I'm sorry.
Why on earth?
He controlled it from a video game controller.
Literally.
Logitech, baby.
Well, they found it recently.
The actual control. Oh, I know
no. They found some of the sub.
Yeah. Like the tail cone and everything.
Yeah. It imploded. It's like, okay, think about it. How much pressure? Sorry, my brain's going this way. How much pressure is underneath the ocean right there?
And the fact that they left out in a parking lot, hit by lightning and everything, and it's been down there how many times?
Well, wasn't there the one engineer on their team like he for like a year and a half
this thing
prior,
is not to safety standards.
He told him not to do it.
He's like, I wouldn't go in the water, and they fired him.
Yeah. Oh,
I wouldn't if I were you. All right, well, fired. Bye.
Yeah, and it's like,
hubris, baby.
Well, that's what you
Hubris.
see. Have you ever seen train tankers when they empty them? Like,
Yeah, they just
That's essentially what happens
self-implode
to the sub.
Yeah,
But
because it's
higher tense.
Well, the thing that happens with like those oil things is it's a vacuum inside, and as soon as it's exposed to air, the pressure differential just
go from high to low pressure. High.
Actually, went down the rabbit hole of another thing too, where it was like I think it was I don't know what year it was, but there were these guys working on like an oil rig out underwater, and they would go down in a mini sub and just kind of like latch onto like a specific area down here. They forgot to pressurize it the right way, and when the guy opened the door, everybody was basically just liquefied inside.
God.
And it was very similar to the Titanic, or not Titanic, the Titanic submarine thing, where the guy opened the door and there was just like, I think just what particles of blood are just like flying by him in the door.
Yeah, the pressure difference,
Yeah, and it basically, they weren't thinking.
It's amazing how pressure works. It is amazing.
Underwater and pressure, no thanks.
That is so...
Just pressure in general. Look at airplanes. If a hole, or when people are like, oh, they don't open the door, like you will get sucked out. It goes from high to low pressure, because you're pressurized inside the fuselage. You open the door, poof. And like when I see movies and they're like, oh, they're hanging on. I'm like, no, you'd be sucked out instantly. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're 37,000 feet in the air.
Yeah.
You would get sucked out. Yeah. Makes you want to fly.
Yeah, exactly. No, I haven't had a fear of like, I'm not really big on airplanes because I've had like, catastrophic dreams of like, moon crashing into the planet and like airplanes crashing down. And it's like, and you hear about the stories of like the football team for what was it? Marshall. Yeah, how they crashed basically coming in like too low.
That was terrible.
Yeah, like you hear those type of stories, and then I hear about like looking at a lot of these famous singers, like what was it, Leonard Skinner?
Yeah,
like their original singers,
singer. Yeah.
But here's the weird thing: I don't know why, but I think the captain jettisoned all the fuel. For some reason, they ran out of fuel, and that saved a lot of lives on that plane. Like people survived that.
Yeah, it didn't explode.
Yeah. So people survived that, but like the majority of the band basically,
died.
Yeah, died in that thing.
Well, that's like the rest of Ric Flair. I was listening to him on a podcast, and he talked about he survived a small plane crash.
Really?
Yeah, when he was like younger in his wrestling debut, because they like did like general areas. Yeah. And he talked about how he survived a plane crash. I think it like broke his back, and I forget what else he had surgery and stuff like. Yeah. They ran out of fuel. I was listening to the story. I'm like, man, this is so interesting. The man he's very interesting to listen to.
Yeah,
he's very interesting. If you're not even into wrestling or anything, it's just his stories. He was the nature boy.
Well, I went down a little bit of a rabbit hole about like what Buddy Holly and like what was it, the Big Bopper and
the day the music died. That's what they called it.
Yeah, back in like 1959, there were these rock singers, basically up and coming. Yeah, and they basically took off in this Bonanza plane or something like that in the middle of the night. And I guess it was pilot error, and he basically went down and into a cornfield or something like that, and all the guys are just gone.
So I can't remember off the top of my head what singer it was, but there was another singer that was supposed to be on that plane, but he lost a coin toss.
Really?
Yeah, because they flipped for it, and like someone else got that seat.
Oh my God!
And he felt like he caused the plane survivor's guilt. It's like, oh
my God! I cannot remember that singer's name, but yeah, he should have been. He was going to be on that flight, but he lost a coin toss.
Well, that's how Stevie Ray Vaughan, the famous guitarist, that's how he died in a helicopter crash.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if it was. No, it wasn't Woodstock because he was in the 80s. He was leaving a venue or something like that, and the helicopter crashed.
That's how John Denver died too.
And Patsy Cline.
That's
another one.
Well, John Denver, it was his own plane too.
His
he
own
was flying
plane.
it,
Yeah,
because he was avid into flying.
Yeah,
there were testimonials of that one too, because there were people that witnessed it. And they said they heard like a weird popping, clicking noise or something like that, and like they said that his I don't know if it was like his rudder system went out, and he just went into a straight nosedive.
Oh, John Denver, we've been listening to him a lot. Like when I had my truck, when I first got my truck, I blasted the West Virginia Take Me Home with the windows down. I was blasting it.
Take me home, country roads.
Such a great song.
Yep, sing that at every time we go over to what's that? Opera House.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oktoberfest. Always a good time.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So, what movies do you like to get into? What type of movies?
As far as like
Scary
scary
movies?
movies? Great question.
Well, I remember my cousin and me and my cousin Heather, we rented for some reason. We were kids. We rented the Halloween movies with Michael Myers.
Oh, yeah.
Which to us back then, those were scary.
Yeah.
Those
It's
were
like the
so
slow
scary.
stalker guy walking
Yeah.
around. No one can stop him.
I think it was more like because it was like it felt suspenseful and like ominous.
Mm-hmm.
That was what scared me the most.
Like I said, the one that literally, like, I could feel my heart beating in my chest was Hide and Seek with Robert De Niro. That one was freaky as fuck. I'm
I
like,
never watched that one.
whoa! I was in the movie theater with Mark Conti, and I'm like, oh, what the hell is going on here?
Interesting.
Yeah, really free, and like, what a hell of a twist at the end of that movie.
Don't ruin it. I gotta watch it.
Yeah,
But like I said before, like slasher movies never. I mean, I enjoyed watching slasher movies because it's like, oh, they tripped, oh, they got.
yeah, it's
Yeah,
like
it's like, oh, there we
same
go.
stereotypical thing.
But like you brought up in the one episode was Nightmare on Elm Street.
yes. Oh
That
my
was
god.
one movie that freaked me out.
And you couldn't go to sleep because like I don't want Freddy to get me.
Well, it was that, and like I said, I can't believe my parents let me watch this stuff, and I watched it, and then at the time our shower was in our basement.
Oh God.
I watched the first one.
With the shower scene.
No, not well. Just the shower. I just watched the movie, and then it was like 9:30 at night, and I'm like, I had to go take a shower. I showered with the curtain open and just stared out because it was like freaking. I'm like, I'm just going to watch and just make sure because it was the way. I mean, my parents' basement's a lot nicer now. It's a nice setup, but before it was like the washer, dryer, and like two fluorescent lights, and that's what lit that area. And the
Just
shower.
like peeking around, like
Yeah, and I'm just like looking
Anybody
around.
here?
Yep.
But yeah, Nightmare on Elm Street I liked because it was like a slasher movie, but it was the paranormal. He was in your dreams. He messed with you.
exactly, and that's how he killed his victims. It was
Yeah, and like coming through the wall, you know, when she was sleeping and then going back,
Oh,
and
yeah.
just that stuff just teasing you, and it's like, oh, and the one scene that got me, well, one Johnny Depp turning into just straight blood and is like rising up. I don't know if you remember that scene. He was in the bed. And he got sucked into the bed, and all the blood.
Oh, yeah.
That's Johnny Depp.
really.
That's
Yes.
right. That is Johnny Depp.
Was that the waterbed scene? Because whether it was like a naked lady in the waterbed or something like that.
No, he was listening to music, and then Freddie took him inside the bed, and just
Yeah,
like
just the blood just
shooting
pouring
out.
But the part that got me was towards like the beginning of the movie when the one girl dies and she's in the body bag and her legs. I mean, you see the body being dragged, but there's nobody dragging it around, and the legs just go up like it's invisible and just drags her. And it was Freddie dragging her.
There was this one movie I'm trying to recall. Mark showed me it. It was weird. This guy would like go into a sequence of dreams, and he's basically given messages by this lady who her body was buried inside of this house, and like he would go to his therapist and go through like a hypnotic session, saying like she would lead him through this hypnosis thing where it's like you're in the theater, you're in a chair, and the chair's like floating in the theater, and the walls were like all threaded purple.
What
and he's like flying. He's like basically in this chair, and he said, "Someone else is here." And there's some lady sitting in the front row of this theater.
Yes. What movie
and
is that?
like,
Oh my
it's
God.
like someone's here, and the hypnotherapist's like, "What do you mean someone's there?"
To the Googles.
And like literally, it like turns back to him, and she's just like, and like, yeah.
Yes.
What was that movie?
Oh my God. I remember.
I remember seeing that
movie.
thing and being traumatized. I'm like, oh my god.
So
I tried looking that up. Yeah.
therapist, woman in theater.
No, it was a guy going through like a hypnotrance or something like that, and he was flying on this chair through a theater. And yeah, there was like she made a specific reference about like a certain threading on the walls.
Oh
It's
my
like
God.
it's like red thread or purple thread or something like that. I'm like, what is this movie? And I was like, ugh. But it was basically the ghost was dropping hints of like, hey, find my corpse. I've been basically, she was murdered there.
That almost sounds like the Lovely Bones book.
Really?
It wasn't called Smile. That's recent.
No, it was back in like the 90s. But I remember watching that thing, and I literally could not sleep after that movie. I'm like, this is fucked up, man. Oh. I'm actually going to get my plug in here, too. I actually talked about, in my most recent book, it'll be airing probably in later November, December, Greater Than a Tourist, Sandusky, Ohio.
Okay.
And like the first, I'd say probably 1/5 the book talks about Cedar Point and Hollow Weekends.
Oh, Hollow Weekends, yeah.
And never been up there, surprisingly. But apparently they have like multiple haunted houses on site. They say two of the best ones, I think, are the two at the front of the park.
They're kind of family friendly in a way.
That's what they said, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they kind of have to be because they're
Yeah.
like, they got families coming in.
Was that movie called Get Out
I don't know.
or Stir of Echoes?
We'll have to watch the trailers for them.
Okay.
So we'll check that out after the pod. But yeah, that movie just stuck with me for some other reason. Ugh.
If you're into slasher movies, have you ever watched The Hills Have Eyes?
Is that the one with all the freaky mountain people?
Yes.
Okay, I have seen that.
The
yes.
first one was fantastic. The second one, not so much because they try too hard with the gruesomeness.
Yeah.
But I was reading an article recently. They said that movie was so underrated for its time. It was actually people think it's the best slasher movie for the time frame of what they did and the psychological thriller. It's not just a slasher; it's a psychological thriller because they messed with them the entire time. But yeah, that movie, I remember when like rent movies were big, or like around that time, it was like 2008 or something like that. And I was at home with my parents and we got the movie. And I had it on DVD, and when we watched it at night, my dad always loved to set the scene. He would turn all the lights out. We had a surround sound system, and think of a surround sound system in my parents' living room, how small that room is. It would blast the windows
rock you right out of your socks.
Oh, yeah.
But at the time, we're like, oh, this is awesome. We would turn off all the lights, and it was like 10, 11 o'clock at night. We watched this movie with surround sound on. It started storming that night.
Setting the mood big time.
Oh my, it was perfect. And that movie, I remember, it's one of my favorite like slasher type movies is The Hills
Yeah,
Have
I
Eyes.
remember I've seen that one.
I remember seeing Scream when that first came out. So Scream was an interesting one. And I remember like the parody scary movies I loved were phenomenal.
Did we talk about the movie The Descent in one of the episodes?
What was that movie about?
I've never seen it all the way through, but it's like they're like cave exploring, cave diving, talk about cave diving again.
Yeah.
And like these two girls go down there and like there's these, I don't know if they're like creatures or people down there. And I just remember at the end, there's like two different endings where the one girl gets out, but it turns out she was just dreaming and she gets sucked back into the cave by these.
Whoa.
Yeah.
What?
I remember there was one about like, it was very similar to that where like it was like a group of girls or something like that. They went spelunking into a cave system, and then I think they were like either bitten by a creature. It was almost like a Wendigo type thing, and they turned into like some cave monster. I'm trying to remember what the heck the name of that was. Some type of cave.
Okay, what was the most messed up ending I could think of? Was it The Mist?
Mist was
The
messed
Mist.
up.
That movie, the ending of that was messed
Where the guy ends
up.
up shooting his entire family. He's got one bullet left, and all of a sudden the mist disperses, and like, there's no more monsters. So he basically killed his family for nothing.
Oh, I never watched that one.
Yeah, you don't want to. So I spoiled it for you. You're welcome. It's one of the worst endings you'll ever see to a horror movie.
Was that a Stephen King one or
I
M.
think
Night
so.
Shyamalan?
I think it was Stephen King. The Mist?
Yeah.
Let's check it.
Because M. Night Shyamalan's hit or miss. Sometimes.
One of the worst M. Night Shyamalan movies I ever saw was The Village. That was a joke.
You didn't like The Village?
Oh, it was horrible.
Well, like during the movie, it's like, okay, and then the ending happened, it's like, really? No, the worst M. Night Shyamalan movie was The Happening, the one with Mark Wahlberg, when he's like, what are you talking about? What? Why,
I never saw that one.
Oh, it is one of his worst, but his best. Can you name his best movie?
Well, The Sixth Sense
Yes.
and Signs.
Never seen
I never
Sixth Sense.
watched Signs.
I've seen Signs.
You
That was
need
good.
to.
That's with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That has the one actor. He plays the Joker in the new Joker movie.
Oh,
Joaquin
Joaquin
Phoenix?
Phoenix. Yeah.
Yes, he's in it. But you watch Signs. It's The Sixth
Signs is
Sense
good.
and Signs are his two best movies.
So The Sixth Sense messed with me as well because
Yes.
Never saw that as a kid.
it is a psycho thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And remember the scene in the kitchen when the mother's like, "Look what you've made me do to myself."
Yes.
That part traumatized me as a child. Because I mean, and then she's just screaming and chasing him, and then you see her at the doorway, and he like closes the curtain. Yeah, that traumatized me as a child. After that, I couldn't watch the rest of the movie for a bit, and I recomposed myself. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna finish it and finish the movie. That, oh my, yeah.
That plot twist, though.
Yeah.
Oh, the plot twist.
Yes.
Don't.
I was gonna say I haven't seen that one.
Yo,
You haven't seen The Sixth Sense?
I've not seen Sixth Sense.
You guys need to.
You've
watch
never seen it?
I've never seen it. I told you that a couple times.
I forgot, but we need to watch it.
You
I was gonna
need
say
to
it
watch
sounds similar to like The Shining because I was thinking about those scenes with like the blood coming out of the elevator.
Here's
Yeah,
Johnny.
What the? Yeah.
Yeah.
Here's Johnny.
The Shining. Yeah, that movie.
Cabin fever. Ugh.
Come play with us.
It just being stuck and going psycho, but it was more of it. I don't know if it was possessed. Truly, was it really possessed or something like that? Like, cause he kind of set back to that time area. Like he sees himself in the pictures.
There's that picture. He sees himself in the picture.
Yeah.
And the stupid dog thing doing a certain act to the guy.
Yeah.
That part traumatized me as a child too.
And I'm like, what is
Going on? Yeah.
There was one movie that we really kind of like both agree on. It had one of the best plot twists at the end. The Others.
Yes.
Was phenomenal.
I never watched that one either.
Yeah, we won't spoil it, but yeah, oh my god, that thing, like, it turns you on your head because, yeah, it's this lady and her daughter, and they're trying to, like, figure out why their house is possessed. And it's, like, the weirdest freaking movie.
Nicole Kidman's in it.
Nicole Kidman, yeah.
It's a really good movie. You should watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm going to watch Signs and the Others.
Yeah, I gotta watch Sixth Sense.
Oh, my. Bruce Willis is phenomenal
Yes.
in that movie.
One of his best movies, I think.
Yes, it is one of his best. I had another one in my thought. I mean, The Exorcist, that one.
I've still never seen the original. I think I've seen, like, we've seen The Omen. The Omen series is interesting.
The Omen is interesting. The original or...
I've seen both, the original and the remake in 2006.
Okay, so The Exorcist at the time was supposed to be one of the scariest movies. My wife and my brother-in-law make fun of me because I had them watch it. I'm like, this is supposed to be one of this was...
Like the number one rated scariest movie.
And they watched it like, this is dumb. I'm like, okay, it's 1973 when they made this movie.
So imagine in 1973, it was probably terrifying.
Oh, yeah.
Well, no, it was 73 or... No, it was like 78. Because my mom told me when it came out, they were in high school, and she told me that her one friend, she was so scared, she had to sleep with her parents. She was so scared from the movie. But... like those demon possessed movies, I enjoy. I hate them because they mess with me.
Yeah.
But I enjoy watching because I like that paranormal type of, scene.
This is why I will forever love Scary Movie 2's like beginning scene. They make fun of the
James
Exorcist.
Woods.
Where he's fuck this.
Oh, please, Lord, help me release this demon.
Yeah, and he's like taking a shit.
Yeah. Oh, those.
And the possessed girl in the bed is just like, but isn't she like puke?
Oh yeah, that's.
There's like a puking match between her and the Reverend.
Yes.
There's the most unhinged, off the wall comedy.
Oh
yeah. The first two, like they had a similar type of feel. The third one's just way off the rails because that one makes fun of The Ring, and The Ring's a good series too.
The Ring's a good scary movie.
Yeah, I don't think we've seen the second one. You got to watch The Ring. The first Ring, don't watch the second one. And then, what's the other one? The Grudge. That was weird.
Is that the one with the hair?
That's the one where, like, she goes up in the attic and you just see, like, this pale figure just going...
Yeah.
Flopping in the background, like, what the fuck is that? What the fuck is that? What the fuck is that?
Some people will bash me on this, Insidious. The first one.
I've never seen
I haven't seen that one.
The second one... No, but we were at my buddy's parents' house in college when it came out, and they did. It wasn't like scary, like because it's supposed to be like a demon or whatever. That part wasn't scary. It was the jump scares, the way they timed everything, and how they panned around, and you see it quick, and it was done, and it's like like that. My one buddy, he was so scared. I mean, he would jump every time, and I would I would go to him like, whoa, like that, and he would just freak out, and I would laugh. But I remember we were in my buddy's parents' house watching it one weekend in college, and it was that was one of my favorite. Which that all ties into the same actor that plays in like the Annabelle and the Conjuring, the Conjuring series. I am so glad when I watched that series. It was 11 o'clock in the afternoon. In the middle of summer, I watched that movie. Like my daughter was taking a nap, and I'm like, I'm gonna watch a movie real quick, and I watched The Conjuring. Oh my!
Is that the one with the nun?
That's part of the series.
Okay.
So it's based off true events because there's a couple that went around. They're paranormal chasers. I forget the name of the couple, but I think the wife just passed away recently. The husband passed away a while back, and the wife just passed away recently. and people called them frauds and stuff like that. But like the Amityville horror series,
Yes. I watched those.
the original is my favorite.
Yes, I always prefer the original because the newer ones, who did they star? Was it?
Ryan, it was.
I thought it was Ryan Reynolds, right?
Yeah. He did a good job.
But the original ones,
The
I'm just like,
original one
what the fuck
was
is this?
that was in the early 70s.
And that's a real house, isn't it?
It is a real house. That's part of the Conjuring series. That couple, they investigated the Amityville situation. They don't say that in the original Amityville movie, but they talk about it. And all the Conjuring movies are kind of tales of their situations. They wrote books about it, but people call them frauds. But they're like, we're not frauds. We dealt with this stuff. We've seen these things. The Conjuring series, I think, for a newer horror movie was fantastic. The Nun was great. Jump scares were great. She freaks me out. Have you ever seen her without the makeup? She's still like, oh my, you have a presence to you.
Yeah.
Like you're scary. Okay, the one movie I didn't watch it, but I saw like clips of it. Okay, remember the Human Centipede movie?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
I have not seen it either.
Not the first one. Is it the second one?
Yeah, sorry, they made multiple.
Messed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
Messed up. Like I saw clips of it on. For some reason, I think it was recommended to me on YouTube. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. Messed up.
I watched the first one.
Messed up. The second one's messed up.
I was at my co-op, and I had an apartment there, and I was living by myself at the time, but we had other interns come from Germany. Well, the Human Centipede, the bad guy, is German. And I remember when we watched it, I had some friends over, and we were watching it, and the one guy who was German, he goes, why is it always the bad guy has to be German? Why is it?
Right.
He was so mad at the movie. I mean, we're watching, we're like, what the heck kind of movie is
Yeah,
this?
yeah. But not though, because I never seen anything about the first one. But yeah, the second, I think it was all in black and white, and there was the creepy scientist guy.
Yep.
Oh,
The mad German scientist.
Yeah, but
like just watching like this 15-minute clip disturbed me.
yeah, the whole
Disturbed me.
presence is very disturbing. But when I was also at my co-op in my apartment, living alone, which is a terrible idea, I was in my bedroom. It was like 11 o'clock at night. This is when I could run on like a few hours of sleep and be fine. Now I feel like I'm dying or I'm getting like dementia because I can't remember anything. It's scary. That's another fear I have is getting dementia. But that's a whole other topic.
That's a primal fear with a lot of people.
Yeah. But the one movie I watched was Paranormal Activity, the first one. It was on Netflix, and I'm like, you know what? I've heard things about this movie. Let me just watch it.
Yeah.
By myself, 11:30 at night, in my bedroom, and all the other rooms were dark. And the way they did the movie, it was a cool method because the guy like put up security cameras. He's like, oh, these things are happening. I'm gonna put up security cameras. So when the demon or whatever came through, it was through like the CCTV footage.
Ugh.
And
It's almost kind of like Blair Witch Project-y
in a way,
Yeah.
But I never really watched Blair Witch because I was too young at the time when it came out.
Yeah.
But they're like, oh, the camera's shaking. You don't really see anything. I don't know. I might need to go back and actually watch the movie. But I remember the one part in Paranormal Activity, like the demon, you hear it. They put like flour down to try to catch it, like the footsteps, and you hear this, duh, 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 and you see the footprints forming through the CCTV security camera footage, and then you just hear duh, 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 and the door slams
Shut.
I literally paused it, looked out in my hallway. I'm like, okay, nothing's closing. Okay, I'm gonna go back. And then the ending, if you've never seen, I won't spoil it, but the ending, it jumped, and I'm like, I am going to be awake for the next few hours. I can't fall asleep. I literally could not fall asleep.
I would have to watch something like super
Happy ever.
I've done that so many times.
Yep.
Like, I'm going to go to YouTube, or I played like Call of Duty because at the time we played Black Ops online on live. I'm like, I want to play Black Ops for the next 5 hours.
That's why I'll use a turn on, like I said, scary movie 1, 2, or 3, and just kind of like diffuse it, like, oh, we'll turn it into a comedy.
Yeah.
So just kind of.
Speaking of Blair Witch, like a lot of people like thought that movie was stupid, but the ending part did freak me out when I first watched it.
I need to watch it now. I've never seen it.
It's it's kind of, I don't know, weird, but the ending part did freak me out.
Yep.
So
it's worth a watch, definitely.
Another one was Evil Dead.
Oh my God!
The one from the 80s when they're in the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
I was at your house and you put it on and it freaked me out.
Which Evil Dead was it? The first one? Because the first one's kind of dated. The second one's like really horror filled.
What was the one where they're playing a card game. And it's like, oh, guess the card. Is that your card? And then all of a sudden you hear the one girl in the background going, oh, 2 of clubs, 5 of spades, bum, bum, and she's naming every single one. And then they pan to her and she turns around and she is like possessed already before they put her down in the cellar. That's the one that freaked me out. I watched that. I tried to watch it again, and I could not get past that scene. I'm like, nope, I am turning this off. That always freaks me out. I don't know why.
That's one of the Evil Deads, definitely. But I remember the third one's this hilarious campy adventure where, like, Ash, I think Bruce Campbell,
Yes,
he
it is
basically
Bruce
goes back
Campbell.
in the past, and I think he gets his arm cut off, and he gets, like, a metal arm or something like that, and he ends up, like, leading this, like, resistance against, like, an actual army of the dead. It's a bunch of skeletons, and it's hilarious. But it's, like, the most random trilogy you could ever watch. I remember one series of movies in particular that you always reference, which we kind of had that moment driving yesterday to go get, food.
Yeah.
Final Destination.
Every time I see a truck with logs on
Logs,
the back, can't do it.
There was a trucker driving
Can't
behind
do
with
it.
a bunch of pipes, and they were just like, it was all kind of like bundled together, and we're like,
Yeah, I'm going to go around you.
Yeah, Final Destination we reference all
Our
the time.
generation in particular were
Traumatized
traumatized from that movie.
Yeah.
Yes, Final Destination. That, anything or like, freaky out. Wasn't there like a roller coaster scene in that movie or?
Yeah, where it like goes off the rails or something.
Yeah.
Nope.
Speaking of, have you seen the new coaster going in at Cedar Point? Literally detaches,
Nope.
and it literally like
Nope.
like it pulls the car
You lost
forward
me on
all
that
the way
one.
at the very end of the rails there. Like there's like it ends, and then basically it starts tilting everybody at a 90-degree angle straight down. The track reconnects. You're hanging there for a good few seconds, then it drops you.
Especially at a 90-degree angle.
Exactly. And that's why Ash and I looked at that and we're like, nope,
Yeah, I'm
nope,
like, that
nope.
is a nope for me.
Yeah. Yeah, certain coasters are just big nope burgers.
It's a no for me, dog.
Was that a SpongeBob reference?
It was SpongeBob.
Okay.
Yeah.
When he's down in rock bottom.
Rock bottom.
Yeah.
Especially at a 90-degree angle.
I don't understand your accent.
Figure this out. We went out and bought like a SpongeBob bundle DVD collection.
For Halloween. It's a
For
Halloween.
Halloween, it's Halloween thing. You get all the Halloween episodes.
Yeah.
Doesn't have Graveyard Shift.
What?
The one with the hash-slinging slasher and Nosferatu? Not on there. I'm like, are
It's not,
you kidding
how
me?
can you not put that on that collection?
Yeah, but there's band geeks.
The
Like,
hash slinging.
how's that?
The rash singing.
Yeah. That's not Halloween-y.
And the walls will ooze green slime.
Yeah. Oh, wait, they always do that. What was the third thing?
Is mayonnaise an instrument?
Taking out the trash at night.
But I thought you liked the night shift.
What think of with Rock Bottom, just like when he's going for the candy bar and
The bus is slowly inching in like
The Kelp Nougat Crunch.
tartar sauce.
Fun fact about me, I think I quote SpongeBob
We both
on
do.
a daily basis.
Yep.
On a daily
It is
basis.
embedded in the millennial DNA at this point. Like it has been there for like almost all. You can reference almost any moment in life to a SpongeBob episode or
Yes.
moment.
I sent my buddy SpongeBob memes when we're talking and we're like, oh, here's the SpongeBob meme. Like, oh, are you ready for this meeting? And I sent him a thing. I'm ready. And I'm like, yep, I'm ready. He goes, nice.
I'm ready.
It's all asking Bulwark.
Want to see me do it again? Oh my God, there's so many references with that one.
Excuse me.
Actually, getting back to Nickelodeon and segueing into TV series, one that traumatized me, and I've mentioned this before, Are You Afraid of the Dark?
Yep.
Have you watched that back when you were a kid?
I did one episode with my parents, and they're like, nope, you're not watching it. It was, I think, the witch one. There was one with a witch.
Oh.
Yeah, that. It's just the intro.
Yeah, exactly. The whole, and it's like the creepy boat that's just kind of like floating there in the dark.
You know what show has creepy music? Unsolved Mysteries.
Yeah.
I used to watch that at night.
dun.
Yeah,
Dun-dun.
I can't imitate it very well, but yeah, it's the music to that is scary.
Yeah, that does. It's like very foreboding. Like what the hell?
And the narrator,
yeah.
the guy who hosted, he's got kind of a creepy voice.
Well, that's why they did that because it's the movie. It's like if you know anything about what's happened here, make sure you call the number. You might be on the next episode. And it's like, oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it literally sets the mood perfectly for
It
that.
does,
It's
but
like,
then because like when my cousin would spend the night, it was always on Lifetime for some reason. It was on Lifetime.
yeah, of course it
so-
was. I know it's on
It is
that
because
time.
ladies, we like true crime. I can't explain it.
Why is that? When I worked at Target, every time the ladies were on break, always true crime. They would watch
We
like
need to-
the body was
we need to know
mutilated,
what to look for.
murdered, and I'm like, What are they watching
But
here?
anyway, so yeah, we'd always have Lifetime on. It'd be like 11 o'clock midnight, and Unsolved Mysteries would be on.
Every time.
And we would watch it and get freaked out.
But going back to Are You Afraid of the Dark? Yeah, the Zebo the Clown episode freaked me the fuck out.
I need to go back because
They're so campy now.
I mean, it is, but
Yeah.
at the time it was like what 95,
Yeah.
95 or something.
That intro though, they were just.
Oh, I know. Another one was Goosebumps when they had the movies.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah. I used to read the Goosebumps books.
Yep, I was forbade from having them.
Of course you were.
So yeah, well, you guys got to enjoy them at the book fairs and everything, and buy like. I love the Goosebumps with the actual goosebumpy covers.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
the textured
Those were
covers,
awesome.
those were cool.
Texture covers were.
But I could
sweet.
never get them because my daughter's like, "Oh no, that's demonic." Oh, but here's Harry Potter.
Yeah.
Yeah, they let you
It's
read
like-
that.
Yeah, I just remember there was a couple friends of ours. I think Trevor was one of them too. I think his mom forbade him from reading Harry Potter. I'm
Yeah,
like, that
whole-
sucks.
I guess my grandmother tried to. My dad's like, it's okay. He can read the books.
Yeah.
And yeah, but the Goosebumps. I remember the only movie I have is the Mask one, where the girl gets the mask.
Oh yeah.
That is the freakiest.
Yes, I remember that
And it
one.
takes over. And she's like, I can't get it off. And
I
like,
remember- yep.
oh no.
I remember seeing like Monster Blood 1, 2, and 3. There's a bunch of other ones too.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, they ended up turning a lot of those into the TV series too, right?
Yeah.
I think there was the clown. I don't know what is, or not a clown, but like the dummy.
Oh
What's
yeah.
his name? Slappy?
Slappy.
I
Was it
forget.
Slappy? I think it was Slappy.
Slappy.
Slappy the Goosebumps clown.
It was the Mask one was the only one. It was a really freaky movie for a child to watch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And when I saw like they remade Goosebumps with like Jack Black, whatever,
Yeah.
I'm like, this is not how it used to be back in the day.
That movie was very campy.
Oh yeah. I liked it though. I like campy
It was
stuff.
very campy.
I like the Hotel Transylvania series too. I get a big kick out of those.
Yeah.
And the classic horror movies from Universal. We've been kind of going down the wormhole with all that stuff, like the original Mummy, the original Dracula, and Frankenstein. Watching those ones, they're only
Classics.
about like 35 minutes a
Yeah.
piece. They're very short, but like they're like the old style of acting where it's almost like a theatrical presentation.
Yeah.
Like, they overact. There's the transatlantic accent.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. Those are interesting to kind of go back and watch. They're actually building a theme park about them now too, aren't they?
Oh, that's cool.
Over at Universal. Yeah, they're gonna have like Universal's Epic Universe, I think it's gonna be called. So they'll have that
I've
whole.
never been there.
Yeah, well, it's gonna be opening in 2025.
I mean, I've never been to Disney.
Really?
Never.
Never been to Haunted Mansion?
Nothing.
Oh man!
Wow.
You know what we need to do? We need to take James to Disney World with us.
All right.
So
But it's like I've never been to Disney, so I told Carl. Carl's like, "You've never been?" I'm like, "I've never been to Disney."
yeah,
I've always wanted to go when I was a kid. Never been there.
kind of. Well, you know what? I never went to Chuck E. Cheese when I was a kid. So
I went there.
or no, I never went to Toys R Us.
Oh,
I went
yeah.
to Chuck E. Cheese. I never went to Toys
No,
R Us.
Jeremy never
Jeremy
went to
never
Chuck
went
E.
to
Cheese.
Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
So yeah,
I don't know how Chuck E. Cheese is still in business.
I don't either.
I mean, my parents took me there one time, and it's like, oh yeah, let's just teach kids how to gamble. And
Every
here's
time
Carver pizza.
I go by Chuck E. Cheese, I just think it's like germ infested.
Yeah.
Oh, I know.
All those children in there spitting and snotting and sneezing all over
Well,
stuff and
my
touching
parents
stuff.
stopped going there. I think after Ryan's, he had a birthday party there one time because they were looking. He had a birthday in winter, and they were trying to find like indoor activities to do. They went there, and there was this little kid that was going up underneath the soda dispensers, literally putting his lips on the dispenser and hitting the button and slurping it out of the thing. And they're like, "Yeah, we're done. We're done. We're getting out of here right now."
I mean, having a child, kids are disgusting.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
I mean,
it's gonna happen.
yeah, it's gonna happen. we try to keep our child clean, like wipe her mouth, while she's
Oh, but
eating
kids are
something.
dirty.
Oh, she sneezed in my mouth. And I just go, it's part of being a father, I guess.
Yep.
I'm just going to build my immune system. Never got sick from it, or she's like, and her food, she's like, oh yeah, I'm going to eat. I'm like, okay, child. Are you sure you want to eat that? And she just looks at me and just, okay, you have fun.
Yep.
Kids are disgusting. I look at other kids and I'm like, oh wow, my kid's actually clean.
Yeah.
These other kids are, these kids are terrible. It's funny. Carla and I, we always do that. We're like, we judge other parents based off their kids and how they parent. And it's just so
I
fun.
think almost every parent does that, don't they?
I mean, I feel bad sometimes because like we're not parents, obviously.
Yeah.
But sometimes I'll see somebody with their kid, like with a dirty shirt or their mouth is dirty.
Yep.
They're not like they've got dirty hands and feet. I'm like, why? It's like you're not at a park.
Yep.
Like you're at a store and your kid comes in dirty. Like, why would you?
Yeah, I know. Oh, I know.
I'm not trying to be judgmental.
We're being super judgy.
I judge them. I'm sorry. I see it, or they're like
Sorry, not sorry.
or they're like in pajamas. Okay, if they're like if they're an infant or like not a newborn. If you take a newborn, I've seen people like take their newborn 2-week-old baby out. I'm like, are you serious? You're taking a 2-week-old? You know, we're diverging.
Or they'll take them to like a restaurant, or like take them to Disney World. Like an infant is not going to remember Disney World. Like if they have younger like siblings that are a little older, I kind of get that. But like an infant to Disney, they're not going to remember.
No,
kidding me?
To take a newborn out, I judge the parent. I'm like, you make bad decisions. When our daughter was born, we didn't leave for like 2 to 3 months. Actually, I did leave. We did leave at when she was 2 months old. I remember because my one buddy was having a bachelor party and I went to it. And then a week later I got COVID.
Oh no.
And
it was that time.
And it was that time she was 2 months old because she was getting her vaccines at 2 months and I couldn't go. And so my mother-in-law stayed with us for like the 2 weeks I was down.
Yeah.
I was in the basement like a troll.
Like a hermit just sitting down there.
Well, it was me and the dog in the basement because I'm like, I told her, I'm like, I need somebody. I need something. So the dog's with me and we had a system. I would go up, knock on the door, go back down to the base of the stairs, and then my mother-in-law will come and put food on the top of the step, and close the door. And I go up and get the food, and I go, "Thank you." And I start eating because she cooked. I mean, I ate well.
Yep.
And I'd go back up, and I'd put the dish on the top of the step. I'd knock on the door, go down, and they would wash it immediately.
Yep. It was a good system.
Just going in hot water.
Yeah.
Yeah. My mother-in-law never got it.
Yep.
My wife never got it. My daughter never got it.
You got it from me the first time.
I did. Mm-hmm.
And then did I get it from you the second time?
It might have been, because I ended up getting it actually this past year. I got it back in like, what was that?
Because we never get
never
sick off each other.
Mm-hmm.
But then when I got COVID the first time and he started getting sick, I'm like, I bet you have COVID.
Yeah.
Because we never get sick. And sure enough, it was COVID.
Yeah. And that's the thing, when it hit me, like I just had a scratchy throat, and I'm like, okay. And I'm like playing with my daughter and not thinking anything of it. And then Monday, and I was like, okay. I'm like, and then Carly was still home, and I'm like, I don't feel right. I don't feel right. And I'm on the ground, like, I just don't feel right.
Mm-hmm.
She took my temperature, and she's like, you get downstairs. And then we didn't have a test, but my brother-in-law did. Got it, and I took the test. I'm like, yep. And I'm like, I got COVID. And
For me, I just felt extremely sleepy. Like, it just hit me. I'm like, I would wake up from a nap, I'd be fully energized, and then within 10 minutes, I'm like, oh, I'm sleepy. And then boom, back down, sound asleep again. Wake up 20 minutes later, the same cycle again and again. And it's just a long night like that. I
had the hacking spells to the point I almost puked the one time.
Ugh.
I couldn't stop coughing, and I almost puked.
Yep.
But I only got it the one time, knock on wood.
Did you keep your sense of smell and taste when you had it? And I did too.
You
lost it a little bit. I
lost my sense of smell for 12 hours.
No.
And it came back.
Yeah, that's good that it came back. So there's some people that still haven't got it back.
Yep.
I don't know, because I was trying to I don't know if this did anything. I was trying to smell different things. Like I was smelling
she was
coffee
going crazy
grounds.
at the smell. And she's like, when she tried a straight shot of apple cider vinegar and said, I can't taste this, I'm like,
yep.
I think you got COVID.
That's before I took the test. And I remember, I think we were eating something, and I'm like...
Yeah, apple cider vinegar, you'd know.
Yeah, I can't taste... And then
and
he gave me a shot of apple cider vinegar. I'm like, yeah, I can't taste this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh.
Nope.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh, here we go.
No, I still kept the sense of smell and the taste.
But yeah, for 12 hours I lost it, then it came back.
The thing we got afterwards, though, was post-COVID tinnitus, which apparently is a thing, too. Where, we had ringing of the ears.
Yeah, for my ear...
About a couple months after.
I got that, too.
Yeah.
My left ear rang nonstop for 3 months.
Oh,
yeah, it was wild. Yeah. I'm like, ugh.
I'd be laying in bed, and I kind of got used to it. It rings off and on sometimes, but literally for 3 months straight.
Yeah, we didn't know if it was an age thing or if that was no, but it actually is a post-COVID thing.
Yeah.
With, ringing of the ears. I'm like, oh my God.
That's another freaky thing, is just pandemics.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's right along the lines of horror.
Oh, yeah, because, when it happened, I looked at Carl, I'm like, this is weird.
Yep.
What do we do in this situation? What's going to happen?
Well, here's the thing.
Freak out?
We had almost a mini dose of this with the meningitis outbreak back when we were in 6th grade.
Oh, yeah.
That whole thing where it's like, oh my God, they shut down the schools and everything. Yeah. I'm like, it feels just like that all over again.
That only lasted, 2 weeks, and then summertime hit, and then it was like, okay, we're
But yeah, think about COVID lasted. So, for me, I work in healthcare. Mm-hmm. We were all scared, and we were all terrified because, I
you're on the front lines, basically.
Well, and, I work with the elderly. They're very immunocompromised, so we're all freaking out, oh my God, we don't want to give them this to them.
My mom had like emotional breakdown because she was a nurse on the front lines of this thing, and she just like was beside herself with all the stuff going on. She worked in COVID units with the patients.
Well, I remember like I felt so bad because my residents. I mean, they had to stay in their rooms for like months. We couldn't have them eat meals together. They couldn't eat in the dining room.
Oh yeah.
I couldn't do activities.
So they're just isolated.
They were isolated in their rooms. Their families weren't allowed to visit. It was awful.
I was going to say, how about the toll of that on mental health? Because everybody likes to talk about mental health. How badly did that affect just everybody across the board? People who are isolated by themselves. Like everybody's just like, oh, well, do it for the greater good of the country. And it's just like, no social outlet, and like church gatherings were banned. Like any type of like big gathering until the protest came around.
But that was a scary time because like nobody knew like how how
what was going to happen.
Exactly, because we didn't know like how deadly is this disease.
And we just waited for Mr. DeWine to come on at like 2 or 2:30, and people were like, "Oh, I'm going to have wine with DeWine." And
oh my gosh,
like who's drinking?
Oh my god, why?
The one thing, he pissed off all the other states because he allowed to-go alcohol from
To-go
restaurants.
alcohol
and
was
it
the best
saved
thing
the
he ever did.
restaurants.
Yeah.
Because Pennsylvanians, they literally had to drive across the border because Pennsylvania was considered, a dry county?
Or they couldn't,
They couldn't buy alcohol there, but they could hop the border, and I think they tried to pass a thing where like they couldn't buy any.
Well, I remember they were going to like close liquor stores and stuff because they didn't want people
close
going
to the
out.
border.
Yeah.
Yeah, but Pennsylvanians were driving across the border during the pandemic to buy alcohol in Ohio.
hilarious.
So they became like rum runners.
Well, I remember too. One of the other freaky things that happened, like they said they were going to start enforcing like curfew. Like I remember, I had to get a special note from work that if I were to get pulled over by a police officer, I'd show them the note.
That you're an essential worker.
That you're essential worker. I remember that.
Yeah, because they were going to say, "Oh yeah, if you're out driving, the police can pull you over."
Yeah.
It never happened to me, but yeah, everybody at work got this letter.
And there was nobody on the highways back then too. Lovely.
I miss the COVID traffic.
Right.
I know.
Yeah.
I miss the COVID traffic.
I remember when we were allowed to like start going out and like getting groceries.
We started getting into golf during that time too, right?
Yeah, we couldn't touch the flags or anything.
Yeah.
Remember they actually had like the plastic barriers in the golf carts? I'm just like, really? Is this going to do anything?
They were trying everything, and I remember
They were, because they didn't know.
The one part was funny was like this like doctor would go online. He's like, "Oh yeah, I would Lysol and wipe down all my food." I'm like, "I'm not spraying Lysol on my fruits and vegetables."
Yeah.
No.
Are you
Just adding more chemicals to it.
Yeah. I'm like, okay, maybe wipe down like the cardboard. It's like, okay, I'm not going to spray, but like get like a little like wipe and stuff like that. But it really changed us on how we interact with people now.
Oh yeah.
In a sense of like, okay, I'm going to use hand sanitizer after
I was going to
this.
say,
Like,
do you feel like we've become more hygienic of a society since then? Because now we have more Purell stations, even at gas stations now. They got like Purell things on the side of the pumps.
which is kind of sad that it took this for us
To
to
do
do
it.
To make people wash their hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, this is how you wash your hands. I'm like, how do people not know how to wash their hands? Mm-hmm. Like, what the heck?
I do kind of like how masks have become more acceptable if a person's cold or sick, That's a way for them to kind of like, hey, I've got a cold. I don't want to spread this to anybody else.
Well, when I'm at work now, and if I go to work and I'm really sick, I'll wear a mask so I don't get my cooties everywhere.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know some people at work, they still wear a mask just in general, if they're sick or not. And I'm like,
Yep.
it sucked at the time, I'll tell you that, especially flying. Carly, we went to Alaska.
Oh, the background check. Oh, yeah. I remember you were telling me about that.
We went to Alaska in the height of COVID, like July of 2020. We're like, let's go to Alaska. And so we went to Alaska, and we had to get COVID tested before, which I remember it wasn't that bad. The lady that did it for me, because I told her, I'm like, oh, be gentle, it's my first time. Make a joke. And she was like, oh, okay. And I didn't get it. And we had to show the cards, but we didn't get our tests back yet. And the lady in Alaska was like, just when you get it, email it to us so we know you're good and stuff like that. But that Alaska actually took it seriously, where if we were outside, we didn't have to wear a mask. If you go in somewhere, you had to wear a mask. Until you sat down, because like COVID really knows that when you sit down, you can take your mask off and eat and stuff like that.
Of course.
Yeah.
But there's some places in Alaska, they did not believe it. Because there's such small villages.
Yeah.
They didn't believe in it.
Yeah.
Because they're like, it's not here.
Yeah.
And some people are like, yeah, I was really sick around February, around January. I'm like, timing just right up there.
That's what I was worried about, the Amish communities. Because we have Amish villages around Ohio and everything. What do they do? Did they like wear any masks? Like,
they don't go. They
don't practice like modern medicine
No.
here. Yeah. Wild.
Well, I remember at work, the thing that drove me crazy, I remember regardless if a resident had COVID or not, we would have to wear, if we went in their rooms, we'd have to gown up,
Oh,
put
yeah.
gloves on,
Hazmat suit type of thing.
put the shoes on, and then we'd have to wear an N95 plus goggles plus a face shield.
Goodness.
Yeah, back when it first broke.
So when we were delivering meals, and mind you, before we would have to do that before we'd go. So we do that for one person, take it all off,
And do it again.
go to the next person, do it all again. It was, and mind
Jeez.
you, at that time we had like 26 people, so we had to do that 26 times.
Oh, my.
So we got down to a system. So when we were delivering meals, I would go to one room, the other two girls would go there, and then that way we wouldn't have to disrobe as many times.
Yeah.
But still, yeah, I mean, I remember I would have like marks on my face just from the masks and everything.
When Carly would get home, as soon as she stepped in the door, she would strip off her clothes right there, put them in the dirty laundry, wash her hands.
And that's what you do too. You'd throw them like right in the washing machine.
I'd go right down these basement steps.
Coming through the basement.
Yep.
Yeah. So it wouldn't even make contact upstairs. That was a wild time.
Well, that's one thing too. Like as soon as you get back, if going to the store, wash your hands. Don't touch anything. Don't even touch your face or anything.
First thing, go wash.
I still do that now.
Yep,
I come back
same.
from the store. I'm like, I'm just
habit.
gonna wash my hands as soon as I get home. I put the groceries down on the floor. My daughter would get the groceries and just take them.
Yep.
Now, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna wash my hands and stuff. So
I know the Sandy wipes are going to catch up to me at one point because there's those wipes that we have, like all healthcare facilities have them. They're these wipes you're not supposed to use them on your hands. I was raw dogging them on my hands,
They're just like,
so I'm like, this is going to catch up to me at some point.
yeah, I mean, it's just all this stuff. Now, I mean, we still practice it, like wipe down everything, like especially with our daughter. Like we go out, it's like we wipe. They give us a high chair, we wipe it all down.
Oh yeah, no, that in general is just a smart thing to do because, like you said, how dirty kids are.
Oh, I know.
And
I
can
think
tell
about
you-
those like old McDonald's high chairs. Remember the ones with like the big tray and everything?
Oh, yeah.
Imagine how greasy and grody those
Well,
things
where
were.
I used to work in a restaurant. I mean, granted, I was in high school. I could tell you those high chairs do not get cleaned as often
Oh,
as they
no.
should. They don't.
Yeah, we always wipe down. We have a cover we put on and everything. Now, I mean, she's getting old enough. We just put her in the chair next to us, and we're like right there with her. But we wipe down the table. Everything she touches, we wipe down. But going back to the scary theme, it's just a pandemic happened, and we're like,
What do we do?
what do we do?
Exactly.
Like,
It was fear of the
stay
unknown.
indoors. Yeah, stay indoors. Do not go anywhere. It's like, are aliens attacking us?
Yeah.
What's going on? It was a weird time.
Yep.
It was a very weird time.
It was a surreal. Like, did you ever have like moments where you're just sitting there like, is it ever going to go back to normal?
Yeah.
Are we ever going to feel like are we going to finally get past this thing? And I felt there was a moment in the summer of 2022 where I'm like, I feel a sense of normalcy coming back.
It was
finally.
starting to.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like I think we were on the tail end of this stuff. It was starting to subside, but like 2020 and 2021 felt very reminiscent of each other. Like it felt like, okay, we're still in this thing. All right, let's just get through this. Let's get to the end of the year, and then maybe next year will be a little better. So
In 2 weeks. Stay in for 2 weeks.
yeah, 2 weeks to stop the spread. Yeah,
Yeah.
how'd
Yeah.
that work?
That didn't work.
Shift the curve or whatever their topic was. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah.
Crazy times.
It
But
was.
like I said, honestly, I kind of look back. There was a lot of good that came from that though, because we ended up discovering golf and a
Yeah.
lot of other stuff.
Yeah.
So
Getting back to golf and being more hygienic.
knock on wood, I'm glad all my friends and all my family are like basically survived and like
Yeah.
we're all good from
Yeah.
the COVID experience. Like we're survivors, baby. Woo!
Yeah.
So, but no, grateful that you guys are all in good health and everything. That makes me happy.
Yeah, same here.
So, the fact that we've actually, me and Ashley have both had COVID a couple times. Too.
I've had it 3 times.
Yeah,
Wow.
I've had it at least twice.
3. Yeah, I've had it three times.
I've
4
only-
times? 3 times?
I've had it the one time. I thought I had it again. I tested it. It was fine. I tested myself multiple times.
Yeah.
Even like the next day, because I tested myself before and it didn't show up, and then later that day it showed up. And I'm like, well.
But yeah, James, thank you for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Ashley's already checked out, so. All right. But no, yeah, I think it's been a fantastic episode. We've really covered a lot of ground with everything here. So talking from horror movies to paranormal to actual like pandemics and like primal fears type things.
yeah.
And dreams too.
And the dreams.
So yeah, fantastic episode. We're going to wrap it up here. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll see you next time. And it all depends on the situation. Have a good one.
Bye.